Good morning. It is 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And we begin this morning with a closure on 24, the eastbound lanes at between Old Fort Parkway and New Salem Highway. That's exit 78 through 80. It is shut down there, has been so all morning long since about 3:30 this morning by a serious accident. Lots of equipment on the scene there. And again, 24 eastbound shut down from Old Fort Parkway to New Salem Highway. You'll want to take Highway 41 this morning if you can instead. In the news, a little cloudy this morning. Stefano tells us, however, it is not going to be sticking around for terribly long.
We'll have better sunshine going into this afternoon, into the evening. I really don't expect the cloud cover to take over whatsoever today. We'll work our way to the 70s. One or two spots will make a push back near 80. Really looks like a pleasant Friday overall.
Oh, we like hearing that. Also in the news this morning, so who could have seen this one coming? The Nobel Peace Prize has just been awarded this morning to somebody not named Donald Trump. The committee announcing this morning that Maria Corina Machado wins the award this year for her work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela. Here's the chair of that committee this morning making the announcement in Oslo.
In the past year, Ms. Machado has been forced to live in hiding, despite serious threats against her life. She has remained in the country, a choice that has inspired millions.
He also said that democracy around the world is under threat. And there's a whole lot more to the statements this morning. We'll explore that with Dan in just a couple of moments. An animal cruelty investigation underway in Wilson County now after a small dog was found shot along Oak Grove Road.
The dog is a Cocker Spaniel Poodle mix named Little Bug. Was discovered on September 18th with 2 gunshot wounds, one shattering her front right leg, the other grazing her spine. Veterinarians were forced to amputate the injured leg, and x-rays confirmed bullet fragments still inside her body. Wilson County Animal Control and the Sheriff's Office treating the case as animal cruelty and are asking for the public's help. A $500 reward is being offered for tips leading to an arrest, with additional donations coming in from private citizens. Country singer Gretchen Wilson has stepped in to help, covering Little Bug's medical expenses through her charitable fund. The dog is now recovering and may be available for adoption once she's healed. Ken Weaver, WTN News.
We've got market numbers here brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Major market indexes dropped, ending a streak of gains. The Dow was down 243 points at close. The S&P lost 19, and the Nasdaq also fell 19 points. Losses for Tesla and Dell shares offset big gains for Delta after the airline reported stronger than expected profits from the summer travel season. China announced new limits on exports of rare earth elements used in high-tech products and military applications. New regulations require foreign companies to get special approval to export items that contain even small traces of rare earths sourced from China. Beijing will also require permits for exporting technologies related to mining, refining, and manufacturing with rare earths. PepsiCo is preparing to launch new products next year, the company counting on a protein-infused Starbucks coffee, low-sugar Gatorade, and all-natural to boost falling consumer demand. PepsiCo reported Thursday its North American food business revenue fell 3% in the third quarter. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Stock futures are flat. That's the latest news. Traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, once again, that closure on 24, the eastbound lane. So heading outbound, you've got the closure. Now traffic is being stopped at exit 76. So that's Medical Center Parkway. They've expanded this now from Medical Center Parkway through New Salem Highway, exit 80. You can't get there this morning. So your best bet is to get on Highway 41, but you know that's going to be backed up too. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.507, finally a Friday. Good morning to your friends. How are you? It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. So Donald Trump did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. Not only did Trump not win the Nobel Peace Prize, but they've got this long dissertation where I don't think, and I just started reading this, Joan, because this just happened a little bit ago.
Yeah.
But they've also decided to try to slap him around a little bit as well, calling him authoritarian and all of that other stuff. So let's get into this because I got to tell you that they just, who are these people again? Are they Norwegian?
Yes, Norwegian, Oslo. Mm-hmm.
So maybe, I don't know, I'm assuming it's like cold all the time and maybe they're suffering from massive amounts of brain freeze.
Could be.
Yeah, right? It could be. So this was, need some video, just to set this up. But they couldn't make themselves more irrelevant if they tried. So this is Donald Trump. This is yesterday. They asked him, need some video. This is Donald Trump, and he was asked about the Nobel Peace Prize. And did he feel like he deserved it? Do you think that he would win it?
I know this, that nobody in history has solved 8 wars in a period of 9 months. And I've stopped 8 wars, so that's never happened before. But they'll have to do what they do. Whatever they do is fine. I know this. I didn't do it for that. I did it because I saved a lot of lives. And that's the thing that bothers me so much about the Russia-Ukraine. 7,000 people are dying a week.
Yep.
Young soldiers. They're almost all soldiers of Ukraine and Russia. So in theory, it doesn't affect us, no, but it's a terrible thing. And we'll get that solved, too. But nobody has ever done 8 wars. Nobody's done 8 wars in 30 years, let alone 9 months.
You know, he's actually right. I mean, 8 wars in 9 months, right? Is that what it's been?
Yep.
So he's right. And so now, of course, I don't think, I do believe, by the way, did you notice real quickly, in the interview that we did with Eric Trump, he never actually answered the question. It was the last question. Does your dad really care about the Nobel Peace Prize? And I don't think that Eric Trump in that interview, and by the way, we're going to replay that interview. There's very few interviews that I've ever done that I had so much reaction to. We had so much reaction to as that Eric Trump interview. People asking if I will rerun that interview because it was at the end of the show. So I think I'm going to rerun that interview in the 6 o'clock hour. So if you missed it yesterday, great interview. We will be rerunning that in the 6 o'clock hour. But he never did answer the question about whether or not his dad truly cared about the Nobel Peace Prize. But anyway, so who did win the Nobel Peace Prize? It's some woman in Venezuela.
And by the way, she's in hiding, so I don't know how they're going to give it to her.
Of course she's in hiding.
Yes.
All right. Very good.
I have some audio from the announcement this morning. Would you like to?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear it.
This is, and I'd like to be able to say, Jorgen Watne Friednes. He is the chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee in Oslo this morning.
Mm-hmm.
At a time when democracy is under threat, it is more important than ever to defend this common ground.
Oh, is it really?
Wow.
Where is it under threat from?
Muslims. I mean, there's so many different ways to look at that. But if you want to look at Europe, you want to look at Dearborn, Michigan, Muslims. That's number one. But number two, they're trying to. It's almost becoming like an age-old trope or an accusation that has absolutely no meaning whatsoever. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. You know what's really bizarre is Trump is actually doing everything he can to spread goodwill and democracy across the world.
And save lives.
And saving lives as well. So it's just, I don't know, whenever I hear this authoritarian or accusation or this threat to democracy accusation, I don't know, I roll my eyes.
There's more. You ready?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Brace yourself.
Democracy is a precondition for lasting peace. However, we live in a world where democracy is in retreat, where more and more authoritarian regimes are challenging norms and resorting to violence.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't know what this dude's name is, but does he not have the balls to just come out and talk about Donald Trump and say his name? Do you know what I mean, Joan?
I know.
I mean, I don't mean to be so crass, but what the heck?
Well, I read through the whole statement, and the whole statement from this group is just aimed at Donald Trump. They hate him.
What violence, by the way? I'd want them to elaborate, them and their big brains.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What violence are we talking about? Are we talking about the violence against conservatives, the murder of Charlie Kirk, the
way Antifa handles ICE and law enforcement in their neighborhoods?
Right. I mean, the fact that, the Democrats, who are the ones that are always screaming, oh, democracy's at stake with Donald Trump. The ones
dying in the darkness,
Yes. The ones that won't condemn the violence or condemn the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And those people?
The same ones that didn't want you to be in the hospital with your grandparents when they were passing away or when your child was born.
That's
you couldn't
them.
be in there either.
Yep.
Same people.
Same people. That's exactly right. Same people. So is there any more audio?
Oh, there's tons of it, but just,
Spiking
that was
our blood pressure with it, Joan.
Yeah, I'm sorry to spike everyone's blood pressure this morning, but the rest of it is kind of, it's about her.
Right.
And I guess that's nice.
So here's...
But we care more about what they have to say about Donald Trump.
So they do talk about, in this very long written piece, democracy is a precondition for lasting peace. They say, however, as he just said, we live in a world where democracy is in retreat, where more and more authoritarian regimes are challenging norms and resorting to violence. It is interesting. Also, we had the Virginia gubernatorial debate last night. And the Spanberger, you know her name?
Abigail
Spanberger.
Yeah.
This is some of the most brutal debate audio I've ever heard, because she refuses to condemn this Jay Jones. Is that what his name is? Jay Jones. She refuses to condemn those text messages where he fantasized about killing his political enemy and his 2 children, and she refuses to condemn it out on the debate stage. So I've got that audio. That was actually going to be my lead story, but. So we're talking about the same party, the Democrat Party, who still will not condemn those text messages from the guy running for the Attorney General seat in Virginia. So if you want to start talking about violence, let's talk about the Democrats, for the love of Pete. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. In its long history, the Norwegian Nobel Committee has honored brave women and men who have stood up to repression, who have carried the hope of freedom in prison cells, on the streets, and in public squares. Except for Charlie Kirk. When authoritarians seize power, it is crucial to recognize courageous defenders of freedom who rise and resist. Democracy depends on people who refuse to stay silent, who dare to step forward despite grave risk, and who remind us that freedom must never be taken for granted, but must always be defended with words, with courage, and with determination. You know, it's interesting. Every sentence there describes and defines Donald Trump, actually. Because who knows that he is at grave risk? I'm sorry. We got to do the traffic because we got a big traffic problem, right? So, Joan,
Yeah.
real quick, what's going on with the traffic?
So it's eastbound 24. So outbound on 24 between Old Fort Parkway, between Medical Center Parkway, that's exit 76, and New Salem Highway, exit 80. It is shut down this morning. You're going to have to get off the roadway and take a way around it. There's a serious accident there, just tons of emergency equipment on the scene. And your best bet is, of course, going to be to take 41 this morning, Highway 41. You know that's going to be jammed up. They're saying perhaps Nolensville Pike, if you can catch that as well. But every other way is going to be difficult to get around that this morning. 24 eastbound closed, Medical Center Parkway to New Salem Highway. There you go.
All right, very good. Thank you, Joan. As far as your weather for today, beautiful day today, partly cloudy, high of 75, feeling like 78. Similar weather throughout the weekend, lows in the 50s at night. Appreciate you listening. So, yeah, this whole paragraph, it really does define Donald Trump. And really a lot of Republicans these days, because we know there is a grave risk to speaking out and speaking up against, for example, Antifa, against these crazed leftists that have taken over cities, and against the Democrats at large. So when they say, this is again the Nobel Prize people, when authoritarians seize power, it is crucial to recognize courageous defenders of freedom who rise and resist. That has been Donald Trump to a T. You want to talk about rising. You want to talk about resisting. You want to talk about fighting and fighting and fighting. That's Donald Trump and Republicans.
Totally left out the fact that, someone clipped him in the ear with a bullet.
Yeah, and he got up. He got up and he continued on. He continued to fight.
Just gloss over that, Nobel Committee.
Democracy, they say, depends on people who refuse to stay silent. Donald Trump has not. Who dare to step forward despite grave risk. Donald Trump has. And who remind us that freedom must never be taken for granted, but must always be defended. Well, you could talk about Donald Trump when he talks about the freedom of speech. We could talk about the freedom from censorship. Trump has certainly, number one, had his fair share of being censored, and he's fought censorship for conservatives every step of the way. So it goes on and on. Well, I guess, whatever. Does the Nobel Peace Prize even matter? By the way, hey, Joan, you're going to love our Daily Dan poll today.
Oh, yeah?
I think we're going to have to start calling this the Weekly Dan poll because I'm following. You know what? I think I need to delegate that to Sam.
Right,
Sam, you're
it's
now
all
in
yours.
charge of the Daily Dan poll. If you want to call it the Daily Sam poll, knock yourself out.
Cool.
All right. So, but today's was what?
Today's was, do you believe Donald Trump was robbed of the Peace Prize?
And let me guess, there's like 98% say, of course he was robbed, and then there's the 2% that just like to be contrarian.
You would have lost that bet, and I'm a little bit shocked myself. I'd like to hear the reasoning from the YouTubers who voted no, all 13% of you.
Maybe they didn't understand the question.
Was Trump robbed of the Peace Prize? It's pretty...
Whatever.
I kept it KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Hey, listen, it's all good. Whatever. We all have the right of expression and opinions and ideas and so forth. I wonder if part of this, and I may be over my skis on this one, but I wonder if maybe part of this is because President Trump has gone after Venezuela and their drug ships coming into America. You think part of this is, they're just going to side with Venezuela? Now, obviously, this woman is an opposition leader in Venezuela, so she's going up against the very corrupt and brutal Maduro regime there in Venezuela. I guess that's who this woman is. They call her the Iron Lady.
Yes. But, when you heard that Peace Prize member speak about violence, I thought obviously that he was pointing to the violence of our U.S. drones taking out those ships full of drugs and all the people on board.
Right. Well, whatever. This is what they're going to do, the Nobel Peace Prize, and they are making them. So, they're already irrelevant, so who cares? Hey, by the way, can I ask a question? Just totally random.
Yeah.
Did I say that I could beat Scott Sapicki in an arm wrestle yesterday?
I think you might have.
Yeah, it was implied.
But, okay, so here's what happened in my morning. I woke up this morning to literally 17 text messages. Now, either somebody's dead or I don't know, but 17 text messages. There were some from Murphy. Well, I can tell you. There were some from Murphy Show, some from the big boss in the corner office. Apparently Chris Hand is sick today. So, do you know what's so funny? So this is my day. I literally don't know what time I'm going home. Because they asked me if I could cover some of Chris's shift, which is fine. I mean, look, I'll stay here till whatever time. I can just talk. But yeah, so apparently amongst all of the text messages that I got regarding all of these things, Matt Murphy says that, did you say you want to arm wrestle him? And I don't recall saying that I would, and among other things.
Sam, I think you have access to the files,
You
the
know
audio
what, John?
files.
That's a great point.
I'm reasonably certain that if I did say that I would beat Scott Sapicki in an arm wrestle, that I was being
You were
facetious.
hallucinating?
No, I was being facetious. I was being, kind of silly, snarky.
Uh-huh.
And this is what we call walking it back.
Because we acknowledged that Sapicki, I mean,
He's a
professional
dude.
baseball player, professional football player. We read all of the amazing
Got a son playing D1
athletic
at Memphis.
accomplishments. Now, his son, I could probably kick his butt in arm wrestle. I'm totally kidding.
I would pay his son to tear your labrum.
The whole thing is a joke because, I mean, look at me.
And look at him.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay.
Joan. Do you know that Amy beat me in an arm wrestle one time?
Did you really?
She did. I could kick her butt now that she's all drugged up and sickly and recovering from surgery.
Jeez.
Yeah, but you know what? If I try to arm wrestle Amy right now, some Amy goo would come shooting out of her.
Oh, stop. Gosh.
Moving right along. 5:23 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. 615-737 WWTN. Do you know what I find interesting? And then we're gonna just kind of, we've sort of unofficially started the show. But do you remember, Joan and Sam? I don't think you were here yet, but do you remember when Trump went to the Middle East back in May, and how you had all of these jackwagons in the media condemning that Donald Trump was going to, I think, where did he go? He went to Qatar. He went to
Qatar and picked up a plane.
He did. He went to Saudi Arabia. And he went to someplace else. And I don't remember where he went. But do you remember how the mainstream media crucified him?
Oh, yeah.
Because we talked about it. Well, you know what? In retrospect, that's when really the groundwork was laid for the peace deal between Hamas and Israel. Because, I mean, obviously part of a lot of what happened here in the last couple of days has been the president getting all of that support from these Middle Eastern countries, some of which he visited back in May of 2025. And the media was like, oh, my gosh, he's visiting all of these Middle Eastern countries and, these repressive regimes and all of this other stuff. And we said at the time, he's trying to forge a way through peace. And that is exactly what happened.
So it was Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. And the point of the trip was securing investments and business deals for the United States, which he did.
Well, which he did. And yes, he also continued to, what's the best way to say this? He solidified those relationships.
Yes.
He set the stone. He set the groundwork for the support of a deal between Israel and Hamas. That is part of what the president did. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. We do have a lot to talk about this morning. I'll be here till whatever. Praise for Chris Hand. He wasn't feeling great yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, Joan, what's coming up?
So we still have that crash on 24 eastbound this morning. It's in Murfreesboro. Closed down, stop traffic, Medical Center Parkway up to New Salem Highway. There's a big crash in the middle of that. Lots of equipment on the scene. So you'll want to find a different way around that this morning. Also, Guess which campus is actually going to welcome a new chapter of TPUSA. We've got that story ahead as well at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. It is now 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Our big traffic situation this morning is in Murfreesboro. It's on 24 eastbound, shut down this morning by a serious accident. It's right at Old Fort Parkway, exit 78, and it's backed up all the way this morning up to about Medical Center Parkway. Got to get off the highway, maybe take 41 instead. In the news, an update out of the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, where we reported to you yesterday that the Student Government Association voted to reject a Turning Point USA chapter on campus. Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson announcing on the Matt Murphy Show yesterday that that chapter has been approved.
Really applaud the administration there. The chancellor at the University, UT Chattanooga, is relatively new. Her name is Lori Bruce. I've not had an opportunity to meet her, but she stepped in immediately along with Randy Boyd, who's president of the UT system, and said, oh, no, this organization absolutely meets the criteria. And in fact, they have been instated now, and we will now have a great active Turning Point chapter at UT Chattanooga.
Yeah, and of course, that chapter joins dozens of others across the state. Clarksville's Woodstock neighborhood is getting a facelift aimed at fixing the terrible flooding issues there. It's a two-phase plan unveiled to Woodstock residents last night. Officials explaining that phase one is funded. It doesn't require new permits, but they also told disappointed residents that phase two will require more funding and more permits. WSMV4 was at the meeting as residents had their say.
My concern is the fact that we'll get phase one started and then we don't get approved for phase two.
Yeah, this project is expected to begin by the end of this month with excavation of the Woodstock neighborhood basin to double its capacity. All the dirt removed there is being moved to the site of a new hospital being built in Clarksville. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and there's a lot of it coming up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a few messes on the road this morning on 24 eastbound. That is closed this morning in Murfreesboro, right at Old Fort Parkway. It's right at New Salem Highway that it's closed off this morning, but you've got delays starting back at Medical Center Parkway. Got to get off the highway. It's going to be there for a while this morning. There is also a crash on 24 eastbound before New Hope Road, exit 31. And we've gotten that one from a couple of listeners this morning on the Super Text line. And then also 7732 let me know that there's an accident on John Bragg Highway in Murfreesboro as well. That's 70S westbound, closed just east of South Rutherford. Haven't confirmed that with the traffic center yet, but you'll find that a mess as well this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.538, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I must admonish one of our super texters, Joan and Sam.
Oh, why?
Admonished.
8064 says this. I really hate to say this, but the only way to truly win Israel and Hamas is to completely disarm Hamas. 8064, you are completely wrong. The only way to win is to completely kill Hamas, right?
Go get him, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Listen, they want to die. They want their virgins. Go, please.
Someone please point out to me in the Quran where it specifies the gender of the virgins.
I would love it if they went up to wherever the heck they go and all the virgins were like trans or something.
A bunch of dudes.
Bunch of dudes in dresses. We should probably stop. Can you set up this? Sam has sent me this. Apparently, this went viral. You know this Mamdani out there, Joan, in New York? The guy running to be New York's mayor?
Yeah.
Apparently, he's got an associate who was doing some sort of a video cast, and just like Katie Porter, did not react well when his dog got into the shot. Remember yesterday, literally at the same time, we were joking about Katie Porter, where she was like the woman running for governor of California. Get the F out of my shot, right? Yeah. Remember that whole thing? Mm-hmm. So this dude's dog wanders into the shot. And who is this guy?
So this is Hassan Piker. He's a left-wing streamer. He's very radical, Muslim, friends with Mamdani, big Mamdani supporter. And, you know, this is just an insight to the kind of people they truly are at home. And he's on his live stream.
Yeah.
And as you said, his dog gets in the shot, won't sit down, which I understand. But at the same time, this dog is not getting in his way or anything. He is simply just circling, or as my wife would call it, nesting, trying to find that comfy spot. Yeah. So he shocks him.
He shocks him. Listen to this. Listen to this.
America's much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America... Kaya, please just fucking go. Just stop.
He shot the dog yelps because he shocked him.
That means it's pretty high on the little voltmeter there.
It's a collar, a shock collar.
Yeah, he's got a remote and he flips it and then calls her a baby.
Yeah. Listen.
Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You're being such a baby.
You know, kind of ironic, this guy is talking about violence.
Yeah, right.
While he shocks his dog. His dog's literally not even doing anything. He's just, as you said, he's circling in the background.
Yep.
And so now people are you know, losing their ever-loving minds over this. You know, here's what's funny, though, is that there will be people that will start screaming about how this guy shocked his dog, yet will have nothing to say about the Muslims rampaging through Europe and raping and killing and assaulting people.
And now New York.
And in New York, and refusing to assimilate to the cultures and norms of the society that they are invading, right? They'll have nothing to say about that, but they'll be all up in arms about this dog, although probably not, because this dude's a he's not a Democrat. He's probably like a communist or whatever.
Yeah, I would say radical left-wing communist, which is hilarious to me because if you look at the detail in the video, he has obviously got some nice stuff that he's using to do this live stream. He has got a professional beard trim, which means he goes and sees a barber and pays that guy hundreds of bucks to cut his hair and trim his face up.
Is his name Hassan?
Yeah.
So if you look close, I'm sorry for people on the radio. We'll describe this for you. If you're watching on YouTube, you see that he's got in his background, he's got literally his name in lights
And a neon sign.
And I'm just mad because I don't have that in my house. So,
We're behind you right now.
I mean, if I'm being honest, his looks like a gas station sign. Like, you know, if you,
it actually does look like a gas station.
If you're
sign.
running low out in the middle of nowhere, it'd be like,
Yep.
oh, I could put some gas in my car.
Yep. So, also, apparently Trevor Noah has said something about Charlie Kirk. Now, Joan, you sent me a clip that is 5 minutes and 17 seconds long.
So it's not nearly that long. It's within the first minute.
Okay.
But
All right.
you have to clip off the first 20 seconds.
Okay, very good. So I got to clip off the first. We clearly probably could have planned this better, but I didn't know that there was a Trevor Noah cut out there.
Well, because he's
I could
become
play
so
it for you
irrelevant.
if you want.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got
okay.
it. So this is Trevor Noah, and so he thought that it would be. Oh, by the way, was this here in America?
I don't think it was. It looks to me as if he's talking to an audience that's not American.
This is off of one of his comedy specials.
Okay.
So let's see.
Because remember, there's this whole thing about how
he's
there's
in New York.
Okay. This is in New York.
Yeah, the Comedy Cellar.
Okay. This is Trevor Noah, apparently 20 seconds in, talking about Charlie Kirk.
Don't say that because as a comedian, I'll be like, I'm sure there's something funny about it. The guy was shot while defending guns. Do you understand how? I'm not even writing that as a joke. As a human, you have to admit that is an incongruous, funny thing that happens.
Wow. Holy gee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there more?
You are there, you're like on stage and you're like, let me tell you why people should have guns. Wapa!
Oh, that's hysterical.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yep. Oh. Unbelievable.
He's not really ever been funny, and in the last 10 years he just does all sorts of political jokes, and they fall on the echo chamber audience that he prefers. But that's over the line and disgusting.
I just don't understand how people think that that's funny or appropriate.
Or relevant. You want to be honest, the rifle that was used was designed in 1906. It's the exact kind of gun that the left would prefer you to own because it's a bolt-action manual setup as compared to semi-automatic or automatic.
Right.
And yet we're going to continue to mock Charlie over it when he explicitly stated his reasoning behind his support.
He was also talking about trans violence.
Right. He wasn't talking about guns at the moment.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Just what an
Go get him, Joan.
absolute clown.
So it's so infuriating that they can take something like that and just laugh it off.
I love when Philly Joan is triggered.
Oh, believe me.
I'd love
If
to see
Trevor
Philly Joe
Noah
on the
was in
mic.
front of me, I would go to his car with my switchblade, if I owned one, with my switchblade, and I'd do a number on his tires.
Just give off that mom energy of how disappointed you are.
Yeah, I could do that too.
You know what, Trevor? We're not mad. We're
disappointed in
Yeah,
you.
clearly you weren't loved enough as a child.
Well, something happened.
Yeah.
Something happened. But I think part of what happens is that, and you mentioned it, Joan, they're sort of their bubble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their bubble where they are just, everybody is, in agreement with each other. And I don't know if conservatives live in as much of a bubble as Democrats do. I think Democrats, if somebody came up to me and said something about either, wanting to assassinate, Keith Olbermann or, Joe Biden or wishing death upon somebody or whatever. And if it was a conservative, I'd say, dude, no. That's not what we do. We are not advocators for breaking the law, and we don't find humor in people's misfortunes, except if it's like Joe Biden, where he is clearly losing his cognitive ability, and we laughed at it because, unfortunately, it was so obvious to everybody, and he would say and do the most gosh awful things, and no one was admitting what was going on. So on the surface level, it might have been a little, okay, what is going on with him? But, at some point, and it was pretty quick, we all realized that there is a dementia-ridden president occupying the Oval Office, and he was the one that was in charge of the nuclear codes.
Yeah.
And the most, the most powerful man on earth. And
Leader
he
of the
couldn't put
free
two
world.
thoughts together. The leader of the free world.
And to that point, the part that we got angry about was that we were being lied to about it and that it was covered up.
See that, and that was the thing where, okay, what did he? Because remember the evolution. Like neither one of you were with me at the time that Joe Biden started, but it was almost like an evolution.
Mm-hmm.
So we all had suspicions that Joe was out of it. I mean, we all had suspicions that he's pretty old, but as time went on. And he became worse. We laughed at what he said at first because it was just a bunch of gibberish. But when we really got frustrated was when there obviously, as you say, we were being lied to.
Yeah.
And they would tell us that everything was fine, and we knew that it wasn't fine. And so you got to the point where it was like, okay, and I remember I did this monologue probably too many times, but it's not funny. It is not funny because, number one, we are being lied to, and number two, we've got a dementia patient in the Oval Office. So, I mean, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I mean,
Joan, Shanga Kawawa.
What was that? I don't. I mean, I know what that is, but I'm trying to remember what that was.
He given some speech somewhere. They shot him up with amphetamines and pushed him out on stage, and that's what came out of his mouth.
Do you remember we talked about
which it's back to being funny.
And Joan, yeah, and Joan, you listened to the show back before you worked at the station. Do you remember how we would talk about who the heck is running Joe Biden's teleprompter?
Yeah.
And why would they not figure out a way to either warn him that it was coming or work around it? But no, people actually put that in the damn teleprompter.
Yeah, it felt like it was on purpose.
Yes, it felt like it was on. That's exactly right.
Maybe there was some secret conservative pulling some strings that could try to see back behind the curtain a little bit of what was going on in reference to.
And by the way, my Corvette's in the lock garage.
Stuff like that.
Are you guys fans of, just very quickly, are you fans of like campy, silly Halloween movies?
Yeah.
What is the movie that stars Bette Midler? She's got red hair. She's got buck teeth and all that.
Sam's looking it up right now.
That is Amy's absolute favorite Halloween movie.
Hocus Pocus?
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
I cannot escape Hocus Pocus. Like, she's got the Freedom Channel on or whatever that thing's called. And so they run these, movies like Hocus Pocus. And what's the other one?
Halloween Town.
Halloween Town. Michael Keaton, that movie where he's...
Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice. I mean, it runs all of those kind of campy cult movies. I don't like any of them. But here's the problem in my house right now is that I need to be close by Amy, right? So, because she just got done with the surgery. And so I have to sleep on the couch. And she's got these movies that I just absolutely hate on the TV. And so I'm having to try to sleep while I'm listening to Hocus Pocus all night long or all afternoon long. And so it's driving me crazy. And so I got to the point last night night before last, where I said, honey, I love you, but you are so out of it on medication that you don't realize that these same stupid movies are playing over and over again, and I can't take it anymore. So I go upstairs, and of course, as I mentioned yesterday, that she had a very rough night. I came downstairs, and it was just a complete disaster. So I'm back on the couch, and she's got these movies playing over and over and over again. And this Hocus Pocus with Bette Midler has to be the absolute worst Halloween movie ever.
Oh, it's
right up there with Beetlejuice.
Oh,
and I know. It's like I don't know, sacrilegious or whatever. You ever seen this movie with Bette Midler?
Yeah, it was on Disney Channel when I was a kid. It was iconic.
Hocus Pocus?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's an
Joan?
old movie.
Yeah, 1993.
Hocus Pocus is a terrible movie. And it might be just that I don't like Bette Midler. That might be part of it.
It's a
I understand
This
that.
is a scary bad take.
You know what movie I always watch during Halloween? It's Phantom of the Opera.
Of course, how classy.
Do you know I've never watched Phantom of the Opera?
Oh, it's
Never
really,
seen
it's so good. You have to watch the one with Gerard Butler
Yeah.
and what's her name? Ugh, I can't remember her name, but it's really good. It's terrific. It's a little scary, but it's beautiful.
Freedom, Dan. Let's see. It's a Freedom channel, I guess. 64.75. 52.94. Dan, you're such a square. Whatever.
He did say his favorite candy was candy corn.
Actually, sadly, I'm far more round than I want to be these days.
Oh, you are not.
Moving right along.
Stop it. Goodness.
It's all that candy corn.
gracious.
It is. It's all the candy corn. By the way, real quick, I've got a situation at the house. So I've been very busy. And you know my inflatables?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen your inflatables.
Well, they're falling down and they can't get up. And every time I put them back up, they just fall down again.
So they're not getting enough air.
No, they've got enough air.
But
they've got a constant flow of air going into them. But if you go to my Facebook page and scroll down a little bit, the big tall one, which I can really akin it to, one of those things that you'd see outside of a car place. You know what I'm talking about? It is slumped over and is like cradling my hand in the front yard in the flower bed. It's actually pretty funny. If you go look at it on my Facebook page, scroll down, and you'll see what's going on. Now they're just, and I don't know what to do. Like, I think I've got to literally tie them somehow to my porch to keep them not inflated, but they won't stay up. And I hate when that happens.
Not in my household, not in my neighborhood.
Apparently, yes. I think my neighbors are laughing at me behind my back.
you think?
Man just can't even keep the inflatables up. Oh, sorry. All right, moving right along. It is 5:54, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so are we in agreement? We're going to rerun the Eric Trump interview that we're going to do?
I would like that a lot.
You want that? All right.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to want that. So I'm going to go ahead and by the way, since I actually have no idea when I'm going to be going home because Chris Hand is sick today and they're trying to figure out how to cover the 3 hours, I know that I'm going to be staying past 9. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play the Eric Trump interview. We're going to play that coming up next. A lot of people missed it. A lot of people want us to replay it. Going to do that coming up next on WTN. Joan, what's coming up in news?
Well, we do still have the closure on 24 eastbound this morning in Murfreesboro at New Salem Highway. Careful there. You may just want to hop onto Highway 41 instead. Also, day 10 of the shutdown and what Democrats in the House have just said that they might do. That's coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Shame on me, Joan.
Why is that?
Shame on me.
Why?
I pride myself on really bad jokes,
Yeah.
as everyone knows. So we were talking about, my inflatables that couldn't stay up, and I kind of did a little double entendre there about them not being able to stay up.
Right.
So everybody, of course, is now saying, Dan, just take your inflatables to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. How did I miss that joke, Joan?
And I'm trying to put it in, and I just can't get it in.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he said. Moving right along. It is 6 o'clock on WTN.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And for drivers this morning, an alert on 24, the eastbound lanes, right at New Salem Highway, actually just a little bit past that exit this morning. There is a crash, a serious crash, and the traffic is stopped. They've closed down the highway. So they've stopped traffic at Medical Center Parkway. Got to get off there at exit 76. You may want to take 41 to get around it, maybe Nolensville Pike, whatever it is that you'd like to do this morning. Just know that it's going to be extra slow. In the news, it's day 10 of the shutdown, and ABC's Nicole D'Antonio reporting this morning there may be some movement, but not for the shutdown to be over.
House Democrats say they're willing to pass a standalone bill to ensure pay for troops during the shutdown. If Congress doesn't reopen the government by October 15th, it'll be the first time in modern history that service members go without pay because of a shutdown.
Yeah, just this week, though, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries vehemently denied a standalone bill that would have extended Obamacare subsidies for 1 year. It's not clear why. It's believed that House Democrats would be able to get this other bill taken care of as well. In the Middle East, a ceasefire now in place, and that means that 72-hour window for Hamas to release hostages, living and dead, has begun to tick. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu this morning speaking to his nation as that ceasefire began. He was speaking in Hebrew here, and in it, he thanks President Trump and his envoys, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner.
אני מודה לנציגי הנשיא טראמפ, סטיב ויטקוף וג'רלד קושנר, שפעלו רבות להגעה
Netanyahu suggesting that Israel would be prepared to return to military action, though, if it doesn't come to agreement with Hamas on the next phases of that plan. Well, don't expect to see Maryland man in court today. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's lawyers, though, will be in court in Maryland for an evidentiary hearing. But he's not going to be there. Today's hearing will feature on government witnesses testifying to the steps taken to remove him from the U.S. The Department of Homeland Security on Thursday, just yesterday, told Abrego Garcia's attorneys that it does plan to deport him to Ghana. Now, there is a separate hearing scheduled here in Tennessee today. His lawyers here claiming that the human smuggling charges against him were vindictive and should be dismissed. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stock futures were little changed overnight after both the S&P and NASDAQ composite retreated Thursday from fresh all-time highs. The S&P gave up 0.25% yesterday. The NASDAQ slipped a fraction. The Dow fell 243 points to close at 46,358. Despite the government shutdown, a key inflation report will be released thanks to a recall of some furloughed federal workers. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Dow futures right now are plus 44. The NASDAQ futures up 5. S&P futures gaining just 1 point. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Oh, wow. What a morning. So we do have 24 eastbound in Murfreesboro closed down. There's an accident just beyond New Salem Highway, but it's causing for traffic to be stopped from Medical Center Parkway all the way up to New Salem Highway. That's where the accident is, and a lot of equipment is on the scene there. But we have also just learned that 24 eastbound in Cheatham County, this is in Pleasant View, is also closed due to a crash. And that crash is, the closure is between Springfield, Ashland City, and New Hope Road. So you'll have to find a workaround for that as well this morning. Lots of problems on the roadways. Take your time traveling in. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you listening, and we had a lot of... And Joan, is there some breaking news or something I'm supposed to be looking at?
No.
Okay, you told
You're
me
supposed to be looking at your phone for a message from the boss.
Oh, I've got it. I'm here till 10.
Okay.
Yes. What's his name again? I'm totally kidding.
You know, the guy in the corner office.
The guy in my old office?
That's the office.
You'll notice
yeah.
that when I left that office, they gave him all of the really nice furniture and the new computer and the paint job that I'd been asking for 10 years.
All the accoutrements.
I'm not complaining, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, so by popular demand, we had Eric Trump on the radio program yesterday, and he has a new book. It is called Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save Our Nation. And I had so much feedback on this interview, people asking us to replay the interview because a lot of people didn't hear it. It was at the end of the show yesterday. And in the 8:35 to 40, there's a whole different audience there. So people asking, can you replay the interview? So here is the interview that Joan and Chris Hand and myself did with Eric Trump. This was yesterday morning on Nashville's Morning News. We're now, into your dad's second term. Have you been surprised at just how deep and devious the swamp has been?
Oh, there's no question, guys. I mean, there's no question. I'll never forget my father called us into the office, right? And he goes, kids, I'm going to run for president. Let's do this, right? Let's do it as a family. We've done everything together, whether it's, obviously build a business or, The Apprentice, and all of a sudden we were about to get into politics together. We always fought together and he said to us, he goes, we're going to learn who our true friends are. I'll never forget him saying that. Kids, we're going to learn who our true friends are. And by the way, they're going to hit us in ways that you could never possibly imagine. And God was you right, guys. And I wrote the book, right? I mean, I came up with the name Under Siege before Butler. And I mean, they did everything. 12 minutes after he was sworn in, the Washington Post comes out with an article. This is when the impeachment of Donald Trump begins. And that's exactly what they did. They impeached him the first time. They went after Kavanaugh. They impeached him the second time. They made up the dirty dossier. Hillary paid for it. They made up the Russia collusion hoax, right? I was right in the middle of that. I was the guy getting the calls, we have secret servers in the basement of Trump Tower that are communicating with Putin and the Kremlin and Russia. It was all made up. They weaponized every attorney general, every district attorney in the country to come after our family. They leaked our tax returns. They silenced us. They gagged us. 91 different indictments. They took my father off of Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. They let the Ayatollah, they let Boko Haram, they let everybody stay on these channels, but no, they ripped him off like an absolute dog. They went after, I became the most subpoenaed person in American history, 112 subpoenas. I have no laptop from hell. I have no illicit drug problems. I have no, and then they tried to kill him. They tried to kill him in Butler. Then they tried to kill him at the golf course again. They put our family, they put our nation under siege. That's what they did. They wanted us gone. They wanted us off that stage. They didn't want our voices to be loud, no different than you saw with Charlie Kirk 2 weeks ago. They wanted us gone. And I would have never guessed, guys, that the swamp could be that mean, that vicious, that ruthless. They tried everything, and thank God they lost.
So, I mean, you've outlined the nonstop chaos, which we've all witnessed with our own eyes, but I wonder how the family has stayed grounded through all this, especially given all the young kids in the family. Like, I'd understand it's kind of easy for you or Don Jr., easier, but for the young kids in the family, how are you keeping them grounded through the middle of this?
Well, I think first of all, anybody who's young, you keep them the hell away from the fight, and frankly, you hide them from it. I don't think it was lost on either of my children as I'm sitting next to my father in New York, for months on end in courtrooms. By the way, we've won every single one of those court cases. I mean, we lost them all at the first level. We won them all in the appellate courts. They were all thrown out because they were all nonsense. But they saw me sitting there next to him every single day. I think they're probably a little bit numb to it and probably don't quite understand the way the world truly works. And I thought for us, I think we just have the genetics that, listen, first of all, guys, we didn't have a choice. I mean, right. They want to throw us in jail. They want to bankrupt us. They want to take our voice. They want to make sure that we were dead, right? So, if you're not willing to fight, you probably are all of those things. You probably are bankrupt and dead and gone and totally irrelevant, and that's exactly what they wanted. So, listen, we did what we did, do best. We had a loud voice, and we went out and we fought every single day, and believe me, that's not an easy, prospect. And in the book, I talk about it. I mean, there's a point we came out of the courthouse in New York after, a guilty verdict was read 34 times. And I, my father goes, listen, honey, I don't know how, but we're going to win this whole thing. And he meant the court case. He meant the entire presidency, the election. And I said, Dad, there's one of two options. We're either going to be in the White House or we're going to be in a jail cell, because that's exactly, if we're doing nothing wrong, by the way, but that's exactly what these people will do to us. It's the White House or a jail cell, and thank God it was the former.
Amen.
Yeah, hey, Eric, this is Joan. I'm wondering, if you all look into the future and think about, at some point it won't be a Republican administration anymore; it'll be a Democrat administration. And do you fear future prosecution of your family, fake prosecution for you or your family?
Oh, Joan, it's like the only game they know. Yeah. Of course I do. And by the way, that's so sad, right? They know two games, and the two games they know is corruption and identity politics, right? I mean, you remember my father, ran for the first time. He's anti-Semitic. It's like, it's kind of funny because I have a Jewish sister, and my father's been the single greatest president for Israel, as you saw last night with this whole, peace deal. But, and then he's a sexist. Like, that's kind of funny. Like, his first campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, was female and won the election, and then Susie Wiles, is female. The only two times that's ever happened in our nation's history, and then he's racist, and I mean, they've tried to use identity politics, and they've lost that game. And when they lost that game, they tried to use corruption, and fortunately, they've lost that game as well. And in the process, by the way, they've negated actually the voice of the mainstream media in this country, which is totally irrelevant. Like, independent voices like yours are winning the day now. NBC is ABC, CBS, their ratings have all gone to hell. No one trusts them as you watch 60 Minutes doctor interviews of Kamala Harris to try and give her some kind of advantage because she couldn't get through a coherent sentence. And so people have lost, faith in the media. You have the Joe Rogans that are coming up, and all of a sudden they no longer, I mean, they're wrong on the policies, and they no longer have the voice box that they did before, and they're in chaos, and there's no leader. And now you have, my father throwing so much lead in the air on so many different topics that they literally can't counter-narrative any of it. And it for me, as a guy who was probably the person who took the most arrows in the siege, other than maybe my father, but in a certain way, I certainly from a subpoena standpoint, I probably took more. It is so much fun to see how effective he's being, having kind of won this fight and won this battle for America.
There's a lot of Eric Trump, by the way, joining us. The book is called Under Siege, The Family Fight to Save Our Nation. And you had a much publicized interview with one Chris Cuomo the other day. And I played the audio, and I find it fascinating that you have people like Chris Cuomo who they'll say that your dad and the Trump administration is going after his political opponents or political enemies, not even considering the fact that maybe the political enemies have actually done some things that are really bad, or really wrong, really unethical, and actually crimes. All right, Dan, back live here. We are running we are replaying our interview with Eric Trump. And this was in the 8 o'clock hour. I have to pause it because we don't do traffic from 8:30 to 9. So I got to pause it here. I'm going to let Eric Trump answer that great question from yours truly coming up. But we do have to pause because, Joan, we have some bigly traffic problems out on the roadways.
Yeah, I would say that's bigly too. Yeah, so 24 in the eastbound lanes in Murfreesboro. We've got the roadway shut down this morning. It's at New Salem Highway that you'll find a huge accident. So they have the roadway shut down starting at Medical Center Parkway. Got to get off there and either take Highway 41 or take Nolansville Pike if you can get there because the 24 eastbound lanes right at New Salem Highway shut down this morning. Also, there's a closure in Pleasant View on 24 eastbound. This one is between Springfield, Ashland City, and New Hope Road. That also is the scene of a crash this morning, and highway, the 24 eastbound, is closed down in that area due to that crash as well. We'll keep on top of it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. A beautiful day today, partly cloudy, a high of 75, and it's going to be a similar weather throughout the weekend with the lows, by the way, in the lower 50s at night. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. We are, by popular demand, replaying our interview with Eric Trump. His new book is called Under Siege, My Family and the Fight to Save Our Nation. And I had asked him, okay, so Donald Trump is being accused of going after his political enemies. What say you?
Well, I mean, in terms of Chris Cuomo, like the great irony, my sister was sitting, in the room, and I just saw her when he asked the question, just put her forehead in her hands and just start shaking, and she knew what I was about to do, right? And I mean, I think the entire world saw that clip. I mean, Elon reposted it about 3 seconds later, but I teed off. I mean, the great irony is Letitia James went after us for $600 million trying to destroy our company. Yep. The great irony is Letitia also went after Andrew Cuomo, Chris Cuomo's brother, and threw him out of the governorship of New York like a dog, and then threw Chris Cuomo off of CNN, ruined his career. And then I get to listen to a guy sit on the other side of the thing, to tell me how the weaponization of government isn't real. I mean, she threw his brother out of the governorship and then announced her candidacy and ran for the governorship. And this is a guy on the other side who's telling me that weaponization of government doesn't happen. I mean, I mean, you can't help but otherwise shake your head, but that clip went viral to say the least, and this is the kind of craziness we've had to deal with, as a family, because
it made you look really good, and it made Chris Cuomo look really bad. I just, says the guy who's a Trump supporter and a big fan of what your family is doing. But one of the things that I thought was interesting is the timing of your book, because your family's fight, I believe, is clearly not over. And I think that there's a lot of potential within the Trump clan. So let's talk about you. Do you have any political aspirations?
Oh, God. Hey, don't give me nightmares, guys. I say it's too early in the morning. Listen, I think we've gotten very good at it. I think we've developed a really confident voice. I think we understand this country. I think we understand the people. I think we understand the issues incredibly well. And I think people realize that as a family, we haven't backed down. But, guys, the siege I talked about in the book, and so I never want to say never to anything, right? My father, 20 years ago, he was asked the same question. He always said, only if it got so bad that I had no other choice. And it got so bad that he had no other choice. And I think that answer would probably be, the same for me. But, guys, the siege wasn't just against us, meaning as a family. It was against this entire country. There's not a single one of your listeners out there, probably all of you, that in some way, shape, or form wasn't debanked, wasn't taken off of social media, wasn't silenced in some way, didn't have, their pastor at their local church have their bank accounts disappear or get targeted by the IRS or have their companies get weaponized for some reason because they were selling a product that some bank didn't agree with, right? We were all targets of the siege. We were all targets of First Amendment violations. They came after all of us viciously. If we disagreed with the swamp, with the establishment, they came after so many people in this country, probably just about everybody listening to the station right now. And so everybody felt it. Everybody knew what was happening. And I think it's the reason that 2024 was such an unbelievable blowout, and by the way, no one actually believed what happened in 2020. No one actually believed that Joe Biden, a guy who didn't leave his basement, got 16 million more votes, than Barack Obama did, charismatic guy, whether you like him or not in 2012. Like, really, and so people were pissed off in this country, and people came out, and it was the greatest resounding kind of comeback in history. And my father, I'm going to end with this, but my father wrote a great book. It was, The Art of the Comeback. It was first The Art of the Deal, The Art of the Comeback. I mean, you want to talk about the art of the comeback. 2024 was truly the art of the comeback because everybody counted him out. And it was one of the great victories ever.
All right, so Eric, I've got to ask, how much time do we have with you? You gave that. Yeah, I'll end with this. Do we have a couple more minutes or no? They never told me if there was. Okay, good.
Let's do it. Come on.
Well, I got a question for you. So you kind of laid this out a moment ago. It is a little bit bigger than your dad at this point. When did you guys realize that this wasn't just about your dad, but this is a cultural fight that we're in this country?
Yeah, I mean, when they started letting, men my size swim in women's sports, like, why don't we start there? When they started letting 6'5", 215-pound guys swim in women's collegiate, sports, that's when I started realizing it's a cultural fight. When they weaponized the IRS to go after churches in this country, that's when I realized it was a cultural fight. When they were handing our entire country, the keys to our nation, the keys to our economy to China, that's when I realized it was a cultural fight. I mean, when they were weaponizing every aspect of the government, including, by the way, the Democrats' process over there. I mean, look at Joe Biden. They threw Joe. No one even talks about this, guys. They threw Joe Biden out like he was a dog. Less than 24 hours later, Kamala had 2,400 delegates. They were perfectly in line with her. Now, this is the first person to have to resign off of the stage in 2020 because she had zero support, and all of a sudden she becomes the heir apparent of the democratic process through a very non-democratic process, right? This is a cultural war. I mean, they've targeted our free speech. They've gag ordered us. They've censored us. They've influenced social media. They've gone after, again, our religious institutions. They've gone after our family values. They've gone after, our children. They've tried to indoctrinate our children. They've tried to teach revisionist history in class. They've tried to confuse our kids as to whether or not they're boys or girls or something in between. They've destroyed they certainly destroyed our economy. Look at inflation. Look at gas prices. Look at energy prices. Look at consumer confidence under Joe Biden. Yeah. Guys, it was all going to hell. Our military was going to hell. We had the lowest recruiting numbers in the history of our nation when Joe Biden left office. And then guess what? Under Hegseth and my father, in 3 months, it went to the highest. That's when I realized that they were trying to destroy this nation, and that's why we fight so damn hard, guys. We don't need this job. The last thing I need to be doing is running my mouth about politics. But we love red, white, and blue. We love this nation, and we can't see it slip away, to these imbeciles and these incompetent human beings who frankly are all corrupt.
Eric Trump is our guest. The book is Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save Our Nation. Eric, sometimes when you are in the middle of something, you don't realize how important it is that you're doing. Does your dad or you or the family or the administration, do they realize how historic, in my opinion, this administration is going to be?
Yeah. By the way, it might be the best question I've had in a very long time, and the smartest question, because I actually think about that internally all the time, but I very rarely voice it. It's I mean, looking back at the fight, it's hard to believe what we've accomplished and what's come of it. I mean, you have peace in the Middle East as of last night because of everything we accomplished.
Praise God.
This would have never happened had we had not won, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the greatest economy in the history of the country right now by far. It's because of what happened, and you certainly wouldn't have had that before. I mean, you saw the jobs numbers under the last administration. They were lying. They lied about 800,000 jobs. So 100%. At the same time, I think you're so desensitized to the fight. It's just like we become soldiers in the fight, and sometimes we often forget almost who we are and the meaning behind what we're doing. But guys, that's not just us, right? I mean, we're all part of the fight. This entire country, the entire MAGA movement, this wouldn't have worked without your voice. This wouldn't have worked without my voice. This wouldn't have worked without Charlie Kirk's voice. This wouldn't have worked without the voice and the backbone of every single listener, that you have that was probably loud at work, when they were skipped over for a promotion based on some DEI nonsense criteria. And, I mean, the entire country at this point has spoken and has spoken decisively. And so, yeah, sometimes I think you have to pinch yourself. You do. You have to pinch yourself and step back and try and look from above. Sometimes you spend so much time fighting that you actually forget that you're in the ring, if that makes sense. And it's one of those things I probably have to do a better job of. But I think we were put here for a purpose, and I certainly hope and think that we'll remember fondly for the fight that we've undertaken.
Absolutely. So you mentioned it's kind of been like an all hands on deck effort. Who's been the most underrated ally in this movement for you guys, and who's been the most overrated critic?
Oh God, underrated ally actually until his assassination, it probably would have been Charlie. I mean, I remember Charlie coming to my office. He was 21 years old, and he told me about how he was going to change the student bodies of every college in the country and change the hearts and minds of all college kids. And I'm not saying I want to roll my eyes because it was, smart guy, very smart guy, great mission, but you're sitting there saying, wow, that's pretty lofty, aspiration. So certainly Charlie, I think would fill that, that first category. Now I think, post what happened to him, I think he's gotten the credit that he deserved.
Yep.
In terms of people that are overrated, guys, how much time do you have? I could go through a list of the amount of people who do absolutely nothing, but will show up to the black tie events, and pretend to be something, they're not. And so, I mean, that list is, as they said in Top Gun, it's long and distinguished. But we'd be here all day.
So let me ask you one more thing. You and Laura seem to have such a terrific, close-knit family. So you've got all this chaos going on around you all the time. What keeps you two grounded with your family?
So she's the best Trump by far. She's killing it. She's just so great. I mean, she never came out of politics. She was in media before. She was a producer at CBS, when I met her, but on the good side of the table. And, she did a lot at Inside Edition. And, she jumped into a political fight and just had an amazing voice. And my father asked her to take over the RNC, and she was mocked by the Democrats. Oh, ha, 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 look at this, nepotism. Laura Trump's going to take over the RNC, and then she cleans their clocks, right? I mean, she absolutely cleans their clocks. But, the greatest mother you'll ever imagine, despite everything she does, the shows, the RNCs, the everything. I mean, it takes the kids to school every morning, picks them up, never misses a soccer game. I mean, she'll wake up at 3:30 in the morning to make sure she can accomplish everything she needs to in other parts of her life, but she never skips. I mean, she's Wonder Woman. She really is. She's an amazing wife, amazing mom.
Love that.
Obviously has an amazing career, and it's very hard.
All right, so that was our interview with Eric Trump. I think I'd wrap that up. I don't think there was any more questions after that, but if you want to see it, you want to listen to it, that in its entirety is posted on the WTN socials and also under my podcast page at 997WTN.com. Great interview, great questions, Joan, as well. And I got to tell you, I've done a lot of interviews in my time, and that was one of the best, not because of, the questions that were asked, but because of his answers. That guy.
He's very forthcoming.
Very forthcoming,
yeah.
As a matter of fact. And did you catch a part where he said that was the best and smartest question he's had in a long time, Joan?
He said that?
About my question.
Can we replay that?
Yeah, you know what? I'll have it on a hotkey for you, Joan.
I bet you will.
All right, got to run. 628, Nashville's Morning News. Dan here for Stoltz Co. This is a great Tennessee company. They do continue to grow and expand. They build pole barns, and these pole barns can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building, even barn dominiums. You can live in these pole barns, and Stoltz Co. builds the absolute best. And these days, they are new and improved. Stoltz Co. is now offering you turnkey options. That means they handle the design, the construction, and that amazing finishing touches. You turn the key, and friends, you are home thanks to Stoltz Co. And again, don't forget, this pole barn can be used for anything. So if you have some land that needs a building for whatever you want, call my friends at Stoltz Co. 615-622-5992, 615-622-5992. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook, also at their great website, STOLTZCO, StoltzCo.com. Joan, real quickly, I do want to check the roads because I know that we do have a lot going on, and so can you just rattle off a few of the real quick traffic issues?
Yeah, so that closure on 24 eastbound in Murfreesboro, it's still there. It's just after the New Salem Highway exit that the crash happened this morning, but they've got traffic stopped at Medical Center Parkway. So you won't be able to get there this morning. You'll need a workaround for that one. And it looks like they've just cleared the 24 eastbound accident in Pleasant View, but it is still jammed up in that area this morning. Good morning, 6:33. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We know more now about that crash that closed I-24 eastbound in Murfreesboro. TDOT is saying the crash happened in a zone where paving crews were at work overnight. And when a passenger vehicle drove into the back of a construction vehicle, it's called an attenuator. That's a truck with a big cushion on the back designed to keep construction workers safe in a work zone. Friends and family of a 70-year-old woman who was brutally kicked by a man in downtown Nashville are sounding alarm bells. They say that suspect, 35-year-old Pablo Arias of Whitehaven, Pennsylvania, was charged with a Class E felony elder abuse charge. It's got a lighter penalty and a lower bond than more serious charges. And in a not-so-shocking announcement, the Nobel Committee has awarded its Peace Prize this morning, but it didn't go to President Trump. It went to a woman in Venezuela considered an opposition leader to dictator Nicolas Maduro. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:35 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. Imagine if your Wi-Fi was a lot smarter. Picture it. Your TV, your phone, your laptop, even your fancy fridge working together to make life easier. Well, Xfinity makes that dream a reality. Devices so in sync that you'd think that they were telepathic. Really smart Wi-Fi that knows when your device needs a boost. Xfinity, the best equipment to stream 4 games at once with multi-view. An Xfinity Mobile that gives you Wi-Fi where you need it and 5G everywhere else. It is amazing. That is the magic of Xfinity. It is seamlessly in tune with you. I've been a customer of Xfinity for years. As a matter of fact, I was a longtime customer before I started endorsing Xfinity. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. To get started, call them, visit Xfinity.com or drop into an Xfinity store today. Again, that's 1-800-XFINITY or drop into a store today. Find them online at Xfinity.com. $6:37, Dan Mandis here from Mark Spain Real Estate. By the way, a big announcement coming up. I don't know if you guys have heard. Big announcement coming up at about 6:37, 8, 9, somewhere around there, so stay close. Mark Spain Real Estate. Skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. No showings, no open houses, and no stress. Dan Mandis here. You know, I always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my friends here in Nashville because I know that Mark Spain is going to sell your home hassle-free with that strong all-cash offer. As a matter of fact, with Mark Spain Real Estate, they are the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got over 13,000 five-star reviews. You can trust my friends to sell your home fast and, yes, for maximum profit. Mark Spain Real Estate was ranked on the Inc. 5000 list of the fastest-growing companies in the U.S., for now the 8th year in a row. They respond fast, and yes, they are one of the most experienced real estate teams in Nashville. Call them at 855-299-SOLD and get your guaranteed offer today. There's no obligation. 855-299-SOLD. Find them online anytime. It is markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Okay, so in Murfreesboro on 24 eastbound, the roadway has been opened up. They say that the crash is clear, but I am looking at the camera this morning and it looks like there is still some delay there this morning, right at the Highway 96 exit ramp. There may be some construction vehicles still in the roadway there. Be careful, but the roadway at least is running again smoothly. Then you also have some delays this morning in Berry Hill, Woodmont Boulevard at Granny White Pike. That's a crash involving injuries. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.638, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There was one part of that interview with Eric Trump, Joan, that I actually did not play.
Oh.
And that was where I asked him about President Trump, whether or not he really cared about the Nobel Peace Prize.
That was the last question.
It was, because remember, we joked about it.
Yeah.
And, but we were running so late, I couldn't, unfortunately, play the entirety of that interview. Kind of dated because Donald Trump, as we covered in the 5 o'clock hour, though, did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. He was robbed, but whatever. I mean, he doesn't need it. And I think that for the president, I think that the peace deal between Hamas and Israel, which I guess Hamas has now signed off on, Israel has signed off on this as well, and the hostages are going to be released on Monday. So phase one is beginning. But if you want to hear the entirety of the interview, you can. Also now, just find it on 997WTN.com under my podcast. Joan, you're going to be filling in from 10 to 12.
Yes, I am.
So that's very cool. So
yeah.
Here's what's going on is, Sam, can I get some hot water, please? I'm sorry. I love you so much.
And he means it.
I hope the camera was on Sam because he shook his head. Like he shook his head no.
Did you roll your eyes?
Always there for me, Sam. Thank you. Chris Hand is out sick. And so I wasn't entirely certain what time I would actually be going home today.
Yeah.
And but I can go till 12, but I don't think anybody wants that, including yours truly. So I'm going to stay till 10. And then Joan is going to be here from 10 to 12. Yeah. So that's very cool. You haven't hosted in forever.
It's been a long time.
It was kind of funny. So last time you hosted, you quit immediately after.
Yeah, I did. I said, the heck with this.
It's like, why am I doing this? Well, here we go again. So Joan is going to be doing this from 10 to 12. And I will tell you, it is never easy to fill in at the last minute. But if anybody can do it, it is you. So looking forward to that. Certainly. Joan Jones from 10 to 12 as Chris Hand is recuperating.
Who'll be on the news desk.
Well, that's going to be you, Sam.
Oh, and Sam's going to be doing the news.
Sam's jumping over to news.
Better find some stories.
Very good. So anyway, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and we'll figure all that out. By the way, how about a no one is above the law update?
Oh, yeah.
The fact is, no one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
So if you're watching YouTube or Facebook or whatever, I've got Tish James, May 30th of 2024. She tweeted out, no one is above the law. She might be hosed on this one. Like, she might be. So here's what's going on. The Democrats, of course, screaming that Donald Trump is going after his political enemies. Of course, if you don't know, Letitia James is the New York Attorney General. She has now been indicted on charges eerily similar to what she tried to bring up Donald Trump on. So listen to this. Remember, by the way, in case you don't remember who Letitia James is, she is that really bizarre, thank you. She's that really bizarre New York Attorney General. She's weird. I mean, is there anyone who would deny that Letitia James is weird? And so she is the one that really made a campaign out of going after Donald Trump. She went after him for mortgage fraud. She said that he was inflating the value of Mar-a-Lago. She actually campaigned again on getting Donald Trump investigated, or simply put, getting Donald Trump or stopping him. And so that's what she campaigned on. So now she is finding herself in a very uncomfortable position because for Letitia James, it looks like, to me anyway, if you look at the documents, it looks like she really did engage in mortgage fraud. And so the DOJ now is going after her, as I believe that they should. We'll get into some of the specifics with Jonathan Fahey in the 7 o'clock hour. He's going to join us at 7:05. We're going to talk about Comey, and we're going to talk about Tish James as well. But she put out this, needs a video. She put out this video saying that she was innocent.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. He is forcing federal law enforcement agencies to do his bidding, all because I did my job as the New York State Attorney General. These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost.
Number one, does this woman, is she not able to just speak like a regular human being? You ever notice that, Joan? Where it's like everything is just so incredibly dramatic. Drives me nuts. She's right up there with Kamala Harris, by the way, as far as annoying speakers. But one of the things that she just said, you just heard her say, is, basically, and I'm going to paraphrase, is that Donald Trump is going after his political enemies and, doesn't matter the cost, and he's politicizing the justice system and all of that. What the heck did she do? That is exactly what she did when she literally campaigned on going after Donald Trump. Doesn't feel so good now that it's on the other foot, does it? But there was a person on CNN, a legal analyst on CNN, that said, this does not look good for Tish James. I've got that audio coming up. 6:45, time to check the roads on WTN. Okay, 646 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
New voices throw you for a loop, don't they?
Well, they do, because here's the thing. I don't know if it's up-to-date traffic.
She works in this building. I'm pretty sure I've seen
Sammy
her
Kincaid,
name.
she's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I like about Sammy? She's shorter than me. That's what I like about Sammy.
I like how she sets her levels for her audio file.
It's insider stuff. Anyway, whatever. So, but that she is up to date too. So appreciate it. Letitia James. So some people are saying that she abused her. I'm playing this audio from this video that she put out yesterday where she's saying that she is innocent. Apparently, when she put this video out, she abused her official government account to attack a sitting president over her own criminal indictment. Some are saying that by using her own official government account, that was misusing that account.
Correct.
They say that's not fearless. That's another abuse of office.
It's hiding behind a title. You're not being charged as your title. You're being charged as a citizen.
Do you agree that she just speaks weird?
Mm-hmm.
Everything she says. Can you imagine living with somebody like this? Can you please go get me some butter?
We did for 8 years in the Oval Office.
Oh, yeah.
With Michelle and
Obama
and Barack.
Mm-hmm.
This cadence.
I'm a proud woman of faith. And I know that faith and fear cannot share the same space. And so today, I'm not fearful. I'm fearless.
She's so
and as my faith teaches me, no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Oh, gosh.
We will fight these baseless charges aggressively. And my office will continue to fiercely protect New Yorkers and their rights.
Oh.
And I will continue to do my job.
It's just
the breathlessness.
Yes, Joan, the breathlessness. It's like, oh my goodness gracious. She's always been like that.
Wow.
She thinks she's in a Star Wars movie or something. Honestly,
the Force is definitely not with her.
No. The Schwartz is with her, if you know what I'm talking about. Spaceballs.
Did you get that, Dan?
Nope, sure
Okay,
didn't.
me
And
neither.
I'm not sure if I want it explained.
Well, it gives shades of Comey's video that he put out.
Oh, yeah.
Of being fearless and all that. You guys are one note. You are one note.
Well, and she's just so affected in her speech.
And it's so overly dramatic.
It's dramatic.
What is she accused of, by the way? 2 felony counts, bank fraud, and making false statements to a financial institution. Apparently, she had a house in Norfolk, Virginia. She claimed that home would be her secondary residence for personal use. In doing so, she got a better, lower interest rate and other favorable terms because it was for her own personal use. But instead, she rented that home out. So she lied.
Yeah, that's not a second residence.
No, that's not a second residence. And so they're saying that she lied, and in doing so, she got a total of about $19,000 in financial gain by lying about what she was going to do with the home. Now, I find it incumbent upon the host to mention and remind you that Donald Trump, the bankers, the lenders, all the people that were involved in his case, all of them said, we didn't lose any money.
Well, and to that end, when she wants to talk about upholding the law, you literally, not figuratively, you literally bent the statute of limitations on these charges against Donald Trump to make them fit.
Yeah, we talked about that, where it was like trying to fit a round peg into a square hole, all of that stuff. This is a guy named Doug Schoen. Now, he's on CNN. Realize, he's on CNN. And he says that despite the media claiming this was politically motivated, it really wasn't. It was all based on documents. It is right there on the piece of paper.
Listen, nobody likes a weaponized justice system, but this indictment speaks for itself, I think. The government will just rely on the documents in this case. And I think very interesting point you raised about the line in the indictment about what she represented to the IRS. That is that she told the IRS it was an investment property, no days, personal days in the property and so on. I think that's relevant to proving that she allegedly knowingly lied in the documents to the mortgage company in which she said she was going to live in the house and wouldn't rent it out. So they can't have it coming and going. And if she's right on the other, she may well face tax fraud charges because she got an advantage from treating it like an investment property for tax purposes.
Yep. I mean, listen, Letitia James, the bank lost, as I mentioned, about $1,900 because her alleged lies cost them money because she got that lower interest rate and other favorable terms since she said it was going to be a residence and not rented out. By the way, this guy, Doug Schoen, also talks about the prosecutor in this case, of course, Lindsay Halligan. She just came on board, as you know. You have all of the chattering class, I'm sure you've seen it, blasting her as inexperienced. She's not a prosecutor and all of those other things. Well, Schoen, this guy on CNN, actually says, you know what? She's doing a pretty darn good job.
I'd add one more thing. I think the prosecutor in this case was very impressive to put this together because it's a case that clearly is based on documents. And what I would ask is if she, as alleged, lied on the mortgage documents, what about other things? Did she put in an insurance policy on the property? What did she represent to the insurance company? Did she put in any claim? She could well face insurance fraud charges, but we don't know. But if the chief law enforcement officer of the state of New York knowingly lied on documents, then I think that should outrage people, and especially on the backdrop of someone who campaigned on, I'm going to get Donald Trump, and this theme of no one is above the law. I don't think you've seen the end of this thing. I wouldn't be surprised to see more evidence, maybe a superseding indictment, but we just don't know.
Now, the fun thing is, if you're on X or whatever, all these people they've got memes all over the place of Letitia James and that tweet that she sent way back when, no one is above the law. And they have that as like her mugshot. You know, she's holding it for her mugshot. I mean, listen. She was among the most vitriolic and aggressive persecutors, if you will, or prosecutors of Donald Trump.
No, both.
Yeah, both, exactly. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but MAGA is going to gloat a little bit about this because it does appear to me, and as Doug Schoen says, this is on paper. Yeah. I mean, you either claimed it as a second residence or you were going to rent it out.
Oh, and
it's black or white, man.
He makes a great point that just needs a little bit of expounding upon, is that in legal cases, anything that's considered a lie, whether it's in deposition taken pre-trial, whether it is something on a document, the assumption then becomes, as the prosecution plays out to the jury, if they've lied here, they could have lied anywhere else. And kind of the air in the room is going to go, you can't trust a word out of their mouth.
That's exactly right. She has absolutely no credibility.
No one is above the law. The fact is, no one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
I worked really hard on that this morning, Joan, so I just wanted to make sure that I get a lot of leverage out of it this morning.
What's that?
The thing. 6:50.
I'm like...
It's okay, Joan.
I'm working over
It's
here.
okay.
She's got show prep.
Yeah, I got show prep
You know what?
to do.
All of a sudden, you give a woman a talk show and she ignores the host. It's all good. It's 6:54, and we have... What are we doing here? Joan, what do we got coming up in the news?
We have, let's see, there's some shutdown news for you this morning. What Secretary of the Transportation, Sean Duffy, has to say about airport workers calling out sick. That's coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here, 6:55. Contours. Holidays are coming up, and if you want to slim down for the holidays, maybe after the holidays, you might want to do this as well. But a belly buster special from my friends at Contours can help you lose a couple of inches in the middle. Now, it is all about that cutting edge red light technology from Contours. It is not only incredibly unique, but also effective. And again, most folks do lose a couple of inches across the middle. Look up this red light technology. You will see that it is new and it is indeed cutting edge. And Contours can help you right now. If you call this phone number at 615-236-9960, you get that thing for $99. That's right. $99 for a belly buster special if you are one of the first 10 callers right now to 615-236-9960. Find them online, and you can learn all about it, ContoursLLC.com, and find out what their red light technology can do for you. ContoursLLC.com. Call right now for that $99 special, 615-236-9960. Contours, all you've got to lose is inches. 3887. Somebody please tell Dan that round pegs actually do fit in square holes. Is that true?
Well, if
Yeah,
they're
I think-
smaller.
I think it's the
It depends on the
square
size,
peg
right?
and the round hole.
Is that what it is? Square pegs
because
and
the edges.
and round hole.
Whatever.
Sam and I were just talking off the air, Joan. No names, Sam, about how there's some people that are always like, it drive you crazy, right? It's like, can't do that. Can't, and they get really technical about stuff. Drives you, and I'm not saying 3887. I'm not referring to you, although I kind of am. But it's like, just go with it. Can you just not go with it? People like that drive me nuts. Not you, though, 3887. By the way, Joan's filling in 10 to 12. Joan, what do you got coming up?
Oh, 10 to 12?
Yeah, you got anything coming up?
So much stuff.
stuff?
Yeah.
It's going to be the greatest show
know.
ever?
Of course.
It's going to be the greatest?
Do I have to do the accordion?
Well, you know, I've found that it helps me when I'm doing Trump.
She'll be the greatest.
She'll be the greatest ever.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it. Joan Jones, 10 to 12.
There's just a few things in the news today that we could touch on. Just a few.
All right, so coming up,
Yeah.
we are going to talk to Jonathan Fahey, highfalutin attorney, about the latest on Comey and about the latest on Tish James.
No one is above the law.
It's a no one is above the law update. I'll be able to, play my little intro again that I worked so hard on this morning for somebody that might actually appreciate it, unlike Joan Jones.
You could leave it for me later on.
You know what? I would, Joan, but you just
Yeah?
you
What,
don't
Dan?
you don't appreciate my brilliance.
Suddenly I do.
Suddenly you do. Whatever. All right, it's 7 o'clock on WTN.
Good morning, now 7:01. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, who could have seen this one coming? The Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to somebody not named Donald Trump. The committee announcing this morning that Maria Corina Machado wins the award this year for her work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela. Here's the chair of that committee this morning in
In
Oslo.
the past year, Ms. Machado has been forced to live in hiding, despite serious threats against her life. She has remained in the country, a choice that has inspired millions.
He also said that democracy around the world is under threat, and there's so much more to it. On the president's calendar today, he's making an Oval Office announcement at 4 p.m. Before that, though, he's heading over to Walter Reed Army Hospital, where he gets a physical, his annual physical performed by a team of doctors today. The president, by the way, is planning to depart on Sunday on a trip to Egypt for the formal signing of that ceasefire deal that he helped to broker between Israel and Hamas. News on the shutdown today. There are no votes scheduled for the Senate today. The chamber's next opportunity for votes on a short-term spending bill would be on Tuesday, at which point the government shutdown will have lasted for 2 weeks. Also, airports across the country have been experiencing long delays due to staffing shortages. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio says calling in sick now may come with a price.
21,000 flights were delayed this week. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy saying 53% of those delays were caused by sick calls. Duffy now saying workers who call out could be fired.
Also, for travelers at the nation's airports, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem has something to say. She is featured now on monitors in all of the nation's airports with this message.
The most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government. And because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. All the futures are pointing up right now. Dow futures plus 64, NASDAQ futures gaining 27, S&P futures, they are up 7 points. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. You know, it kind of looks like everyone just gave up and went home this morning after that problem on 24. The closure is now over on 24 eastbound in Murfreesboro, and traffic is running smoothly all the way through on eastbound 24 and on westbound 24. The delays don't begin until Laverne, up into Nashville this morning. There is an accident in Hermitage. This one's on 40 westbound at Davidson-Wilson County line, and the right shoulder is blocked off. In fact, that scene is 2 crashes in the same area. And on the West Loop, 40 west, make that 40 eastbound at I-65. Watch for another crash scene there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The show will make more sense the second time around. How are you, my friend? The show will make more sense the second time around. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. You?
I'm doing good. All right, let's talk about Tish James. I got two topics I want to talk to you about this morning. Number one is James Comey, and number two is Tish James. I'm calling this my "No One Is Above the Law" update. I don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying the memes where people are showing a mugshot of Tish James, and the piece of paper in front of her is her tweet from May 30th of 2024, where she tweeted out, "No one is above the law." But of course, as you and I know, she was talking about Donald Trump, but now people are talking about her. So what do you think about the reality of possibly finding a conviction for mortgage fraud and these other things on Tish James?
I think it's more realistic than I would have thought before reading the indictment for a couple of reasons. It seems to me, reading the indictment, she bought this place as I think a secondary residence, meaning a vacation home,
right,
with the understanding she wasn't going to rent this out or do anything else other than occupy the house when she was there. And in fact, she rented it out, and I don't think she ever stayed there. I'm not sure if that part is true, but I think it's pretty clear cut that. And by the way, she saved $18,000 to $19,000 by doing so, which is not insignificant. So it doesn't make it sort of some lie that didn't make a difference. It's a lie that made a massive difference. So I think this case, if it plays out this way, that she put these one thing on the application saying it's going to be used by her, and then her intention was to rent it out, and she in fact did rent it out. I think she has a tough time here. I really do. I don't want to discount what may come out in trial because we don't know, but that part of it seems fairly clean and fairly clear cut.
It's a document, and then you're right when you talk about, because people obviously, Jonathan Fahey, people are obviously comparing this to what she tried to get Donald Trump on, which was basically saying that Mar-a-Lago was, if I'm not, she said that Trump was trying to hide the true value of Mar-a-Lago for, tax and loan purposes, whatever it was. But that was all very gray area. And it seemed to me like clearly Donald Trump was in the right on that one, on the worth of Mar-a-Lago. And there was all these other people that came out, including the banks and the people involved in the process, that agreed that this whole case against Donald Trump, it was on the up and up, and nobody lost any money. In the case of Tish James, it is on the document. Literally, she says that this is going to be a secondary home. It is not going to be a rental unit, and the bank did lose money, as you just mentioned, about $19,000. It sounds like, and you're right, we don't know what else is going to come up. Is it possible, and I don't know the law clearly, but is it possible that she intended for it to be a secondary home and then she realized, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and rent it out because I'm never here? I mean, that is a legit thing to say.
Yeah, that's something I'm curious about. But here's what's kind of interesting about it. She's apparently very, very wealthy. And this home that she bought was like, I want to say like $137,000. So it just doesn't make sense that somebody that and this is just my understanding. I don't know facts, for fact, but if she's really wealthy, it wouldn't make that much sense. You would buy a secondary home in Virginia that's not a particularly expensive home for your vacation house. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So my guess is, in the speculation world, the intention was to rent it out, or the other thing that I think is more likely, this was almost as a favor to a relative or somebody else that they couldn't get a mortgage on their own, so she did it and then rented it to them. So the intention was always to rent it, and that's my guess. The way this thing will play out, that she never lived there, never intended to live there, bought it to either help somebody out or just to rent it out. But either way, I think she lied in order to get a higher rate, and maybe even to get a mortgage at all, So, right. but certainly to get a lower rate, I guess. So she would save money.
So let me ask this, and this may be a little insider baseball, but I don't know what year this was, but you said this home was $137,000 in Norfolk, as they like to say in Virginia, as you well know, Norfolk, Virginia. That's not a good house. Like, as far as I can, because I remember I spent some time in Norfolk, and $137,000 in Norfolk, that's not a very good house. Probably not in a particularly good neighborhood. I'm just saying. So you're right. If she is a woman of wealthy means, then one of two things is going on. Either she does have plans to rent it out, maybe to a relative, maybe as some sort of an investment, or she herself is going to use it as, a place to go to meet friends, if you know what I mean. There's also that aspect of the conversation, too. We don't really know. But the bottom line is, it is on the documents. And if you were defending Letitia James, how would you defend this if it's on the documents? It just seems like it's open and shut.
I think the defense will probably be, they may say it's not material, but I think they lose that, meaning it can't make a difference because it did. They may say her intention originally was to do one thing and that changed, and she just didn't go back to readdress the mortgage situation, which that could make some sense. Or that she, I think, used a power of attorney on some of this stuff, so saying, oh, I told them the right information and they misunderstood it. But all of those, I think, seem problematic because she financially benefited from this.
It's her signature, man. It is her signature.
So I think that's the tough part. Like, anyone can make a mistake filling out a form, and they shouldn't be prosecuted for that. But when you're making a decent amount of money and it's a significant thing on the home, like, hey, why are you buying this home? Oh, I'm going to live here. Okay, you're a lower risk to the bank. That totally makes sense, and we all do that. So I think the defense will be, prosecution was, whatever, it was vindictive prosecution and all that stuff. In Norfolk, that won't fly as well as it might up here in Northern Virginia, where Jim Comey is being prosecuted, because you have a lot of military people down there that actually may be offended by this conduct, that you're wealthy and sort of gaming the system when they all fill out their mortgages, honestly, meaning the jurors.
Is this the kind of, real quick, I'm gonna ask you the question, and then I'm gonna go to traffic and let you respond to the question. But in your experience, many years as an attorney and so forth, do you think this is something that she could actually go to jail for? We're going to talk about that straight ahead. 7:15, time to check the roads on WTN. All right, it's 7:16 on Super Talk 99.7. A beautiful day today, partly cloudy, a high of 75. It's going to be similar throughout the weekend. And Jonathan Fahey is joining us. We're talking about the charges against Tish James. So do you think this is something, like give me your take on how severe this kind of a crime is? Like, is this a big deal in the world of mortgages and all that? Like, could she actually go to jail?
No, this is at the lower end. I mean, could she go to jail? Theoretically, yes. I think it would be highly unlikely. I think most likely some sort of, if she was convicted, some term of probation. But the one thing that's interesting in the federal system, if you plead guilty and accept responsibility, you get a lower sentencing guideline number that if you go to trial and get convicted. So if she were to go to trial, maybe present a defense or lied on the stand or something, that might tip it against, her not going to jail. But I think generally among sort of fraud cases, mortgage fraud cases in the federal system, this is at the lower end of them. So I think it would be unrealistic to say she's going to be, going in the Hooskow or anything like that.
James Comey, of course, we all know what's going on with him. I don't know if you and I have talked about this yet, but, former director of the FBI, James Comey, he has been, of course, charged. He has pled not guilty. So where do you think that this case is going to go? It's interesting because you read, conservative attorneys who, talk on TV and stuff, which, by the way, you're one of them. You're on Fox News all the time. And then you listen to left-leaning attorneys. The left-leaning attorneys will say, "Oh, this is going to be a tough one to charge," and so forth for the Republicans. And the Republicans will say this is a slam dunk. I don't know. So you tell me. You think James Comey, to use your terminology, you think he's actually going to go to the Hooskow?
No, I don't. And I think this case is tougher than the other one, with the caveat that I don't really know. It's hard to really figure out what the facts of the case, because the indictment was just a very limited indictment, which the government has every right to do. But perjury cases are trickier, meaning you'll have a statement under oath and you have to prove there's something, false, but it has to be precise and things like that. So I don't know how this unfolds. I assume it unfolds. They have the statement that he never leaked any of this information to a third party, and then the third party testifies and says, yes, he gave me this information with the intention to leak it, and then they would have evidence that, hey, here's where it was in the New York Times or whatever it is. But I don't know how that unfolds, because we've heard different things about who the person being leaked to. Is it Andy McCabe? Is it this Professor Richmond? And both of these were people that were tight with James Comey, which might not make them the most favorable witnesses for the government. If you have a witness that's sort of fighting you along the way, it might make things harder. Also, the Northern Virginia jury is going to be tougher for the government, meaning for the U.S. attorney to convict, than the Norfolk jury, and that's where James Comey is, because you have government workers. You're probably going to have a lot of people that hate Donald Trump, with a passion, but also are generally trustworthy of government actors. So I think all of those things favor Jim Comey. Also, his the charges, he'll have a motion to dismiss for vindictive prosecution, which again that might get some play as well. But I think I would put the two charges. Letitia James is far more likely to be a conviction than the James Comey case. Again, with the caveat of who knows how these things play out, and I don't, I know just the surface of what the case is.
It is interesting. You got all these folks on the left that are screaming, by the way, guilty. I should say James Comey pleaded not guilty to criminal charges, accusing him of making false statements and obstructing a congressional investigation. That whole thing, the judge is scheduling the trial to begin on January 5th. I do find it interesting that you do have a lot of folks saying that Donald Trump is going after his political enemies. Well, if his political enemies, two things can be true. You can be a political enemy of Donald Trump, but you may have also committed a crime. Perhaps that is why you hate Donald Trump, and maybe that is what why you committed the crime, because of your hatred for the president of the United States. In the case of James Comey, but it seems to me like if there is some sort of smoke there, in the case of James Comey, if there's some sort of smoke there, then it does. And I may be wrong on this, I'll fully admit. But if there's smoke, then certainly they should go ahead and see if there's something there that they could bring him up on, just because if he committed a crime, then he's got to pay the price. If he ultimately is found not guilty or the case is dismissed, I still think that the Trump administration was right for trying to find out or trying to get a conviction if he indeed did something wrong.
That's a good point that you made. The when you said, yeah, because you hate Donald Trump doesn't mean you're immune from crimes.
Right.
Like that would be the immune. Hey, I hate Donald Trump, so you have to dismiss the case. You're absolutely right, and you do look at the pattern of really not all illegal, but a lot of nefarious conduct to undermine Donald Trump from a lot of government actors. that was going on there. And you also look at the flip side, almost every one of those Trump cases, including the January 6th cases against the protesters, all of them collapsed under their own with legal scrutiny, because I talked about the January 6th. The Supreme Court overruled the main charge, this obstruction charge, on that applied to virtually, I think, most of them. All the Donald Trump cases fell apart, even without him winning the election. They were all going in the tubes with the immunity ruling and other stuff. So, yeah, but the point of the lawfare, when you look at it against Donald Trump, it was to make him suffer, to make him lose the election, and to make everyone around him. I mean, everyone, if you were in his campaign, if you were his lawyer, if you were in his business, they were trying to ruin people, and a lot of people were financially devastated by just having to go through the process, and it was really shameful. But your point is such a good one. That's like, you don't get out of jail free by just hating Donald Trump. That's absurd. So, and Donald Trump has a responsibility, and if there's a violation that can be proven, why should they not charge it is really the question. And again, we don't know all the facts and what's going on behind the scenes.
All right. Going to be interesting to see. So, Jonathan, have a great weekend. And, well, I'm certain talk to you next week. And it is always great to get your insight. By the way, Jonathan, real quick, how can people find you on Twitter?
John for Fairfax.
All right. John for Fairfax. And if you want to find him, just follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show and look through all my followers, and you'll find Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, again, always great to talk to you. It is 7:23 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan Jones is coming up with the news at 7:30. Now, Joan, I know that you're going to be phoning in this newscast because you're eagerly preparing for your return to the big studio.
The big studio, the big air chair.
The big air chair.
Yeah.
Which, just so you folks know, in Radioland, this studio is really small.
Yes.
But anyway, so Joan is going to be filling in from 10 to 12. She does have the news at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, so in Clarksville, they've been dealing with flooding for years. We'll tell you what the city has finally come up with to mitigate that flooding. It's coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:24 on Super Talk. It is spooky season. But don't be tricked. Let the home experts at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling treat your family right. Now, we're not going to ghost you. Join the Beehive Club for free. Just carve a pumpkin of Buzz the Bee, post it on social media, and tag Busy Bee. It's all you got to do. Show off your carving skills and get rewarded. Now, if you need HVAC service with Busy Bee, you can upgrade your thermostat and get a free dryer vent cleaning. Choose from our Honeywell Basic or Go Pro with Wi-Fi control. If you've got plumbing problems, they will flush your water heater free with any plumbing repair. That is a treat for your pipes. Time for a new HVAC system in your house? Well, they've got a scary good deal. A free 10-year parts and 5-year labor warranty. That is a $750 value, complete with any system install. Don't let your home be haunted. Call Busy Bee today, where service is sweet and savings are scary good. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com. Dan Mandis here for my friends at DT McCall's, a great Tennessee company. They are here for you, their fellow Tennesseans, with great prices, great selection, and value as well. I've been telling you about DT McCall's for years. I was a customer before I was an endorser. Now, these folks can help you with indoor furniture, with appliances, you name it for the home. They've got it. at DT McCall's. If you've got any room to fill, go to DT McCall's. They can help you fill it. And as far as appliances go, look, if it plugs in, they've got it, and they've always got specials going on to save you money. Right there on the front page of their website. And check it out, dtmccalls.com. They've got great prices on all the best brands of appliances and furniture. They've been doing this for 100 years with a focus on customer service. So if you need something, anything, for your home or your garage, check out my friends at DT McCall's. And if you buy it, they are going to deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com.
Good morning. It's now 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got an update out of the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. We reported to you yesterday that the Student Government Association voted to reject a Turning Point USA chapter on campus. Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson announcing on the Matt Murphy Show yesterday that that chapter has now been approved.
Really applaud the administration there. The chancellor at the University, UT Chattanooga, is relatively new. Her name is Lori Bruce. I've not had an opportunity to meet her, but she stepped in immediately along with Randy Boyd, who's president of the UT system, and said, oh, no, this organization absolutely meets the criteria. And in fact, they have been instated now and we will now have a great, active Turning Point chapter at UT Chattanooga.
Now, the UT Chattanooga chapter joins dozens of others across the country. Clarksville's Woodstock neighborhood is getting a facelift aimed at fixing a terrible flooding issue. It's a two-phase plan unveiled to the Woodstock residents last night. Officials explaining that phase one is funded. It doesn't require new permits. But they also said that they told those disappointed residents that phase two will require more funding and more permits. WSMV4 was at that meeting.
My concern is the fact that we'll get phase one started and then we don't get approved for phase two.
Yeah, the project is expected to begin at the end of the month with excavation of the Woodstock neighborhood basin to double its capacity. That dirt is being moved to the site of a new hospital being built in Clarksville. Metro Nashville police are hoping somebody can help them find the owner of 3 cats, which were found outside of a pet sanctuary Wednesday morning. They were inside of a tote that had been taped up. Workers said somebody rang the doorbell, dumped those cats, and fled. The cats have been placed in foster care. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 7:33, Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here with a great way to increase the value of your home. How about a bathroom upgrade from my friends at Zentex? Now, this is a great company that has a great deal just for listeners to my show. How about converting your bathtub into a walk-in shower? Now, Zentex, they can do that for you. And for listeners to my show, listen to this. You can get $999 off or 0% interest for 2 years, whatever works best for you. Because that's what Zentex is all about. Great quality of service and trying to work with you. Now, Zentex, they have won awards for ethics from the Better Business Bureau. And last year, they were voted one of the best places to work in the construction industry. And happy employees mean great customer service. Zentex knows that, and you're going to know that. You're going to know that once you find them online at Zentex.com and schedule that free appointment. Remember that great deal? You can get $999 off or 0% interest for 2 years, whatever works best for you. By the way, you mentioned WTN. You get a free Kohler toilet with your purchase. Find them online. Zintex, Zentex.com, Zentex.com. Man, I love Window Nation for so many reasons. You know, Window Nation put new windows, actually 4 windows in my home, including 2 in my basement studio. They've got a great deal going on for you. October is here, and so is the return of chilly air seeping into your home. So if you've got old, stuck, or cracked windows, you've got to replace them with top quality replacement windows from my friends at Window Nation. Now, these are some of the best replacement windows out there. Their crews can finish the job in 1 day or less, so you can get back to your daily routines with minimal interruption. Now, they've got a great deal going on right now at Window Nation. You buy 2 windows, you are going to get 2 windows free. That's right. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows for free from Window Nation, and there's no limit as to how many windows you replace, and your total price does include that 1-day installation. But wait, there's more, as they say. Make no payments for 2 years. No monthly payments, no down payment, and no interest until 2027. That is a very big deal with the holidays coming up. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
Okay, so we do have a problem this morning on 40 eastbound. That's the West Loop at I-65. There's a crash in that area. Another one in Hillbrook on Harding Place at Linbar Drive. And then got to watch yourself on 40 westbound at the Davidson-Wilson County line. The right shoulder is blocked off. There are 2 crashes in that area this morning, and that's going to cause a lot of delay. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:38, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. I'm trying to wrap my head around this story. So you heard that story about the 70-year-old woman who works at the Ryman Theater, and she's leaving. Imagine this, 70 years old.
Part-time bartender.
Part-time bartender. And this dude walks up and basically karate chops her right in the chest.
It was a kick.
Yeah, karate chop. Yeah, and well, I guess with his
karate
foot.
kick.
Karate kick. Thank you. Karate kick. And
he jumped up in the air to do it too. So there was a lot of force in that.
This dude, Pablo Arias.
Gee, that sounds pretty.
I know someone had that in their
foreign.
newscast.
Listen, here's what I want to know: is it legal or not?
They say it's from Pennsylvania.
That doesn't mean crap.
Yep.
That does not mean. I mean, I'm not yelling
Kilmar
at you.
Abrego Garcia was a Maryland man.
Yes, exactly,
Right,
Joan.
right.
Thank you. That's the kind of insight you're going to get 10 to 12 today. Joan is filling in later today for Chris Hand, 10 to 12. So I cannot for the life of me understand why this dude was not charged with attempted murder. Now hear me out. And Sam, your parents are lawyers and all that, so I know that you have some insight on this maybe. Arias is charged with felony elder abuse. They call this an e-felony that carries a lighter penalty and a lower bond than more serious charges. His bond was set at $5,000, meaning he was able to go free for just $500 after karate kicking a 70-year-old woman in the chest, I'm assuming as hard as he could, and leaving her on the street. Why is he not charged with attempted murder?
Oh, attempted murder would have to be kind of a gross amount of injury, that there was life-saving measures that had to be instituted in order to keep it from being a death. I would posit the question, why wasn't he charged with aggravated assault, which is a Class C or Class D felony involving intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly causing serious injury or, or using a deadly weapon, which has a $10,000 fine. I imagine the bond would be a little bit higher as well, probably potentially high enough that he wouldn't be able to be back out on the street.
Let me ask you this, though. If he is targeting real man, by the way, Pablo, targeting, do you remember the knockout game? Joan, I know you remember the knockout game.
Oh, man, I was in D.C. at the time,
right.
And there was so much of that going on.
If you folks don't remember, the knockout game was where you would have these jackholes, walk up oftentimes to elderly people, and one woman was behind her walker, and these guys would walk up and they would clock them upside the head. Yeah. The knockout game, just randomly.
Horrible.
That's what this dude, Pablo Arias, did. And this poor woman, I just can imagine, 70 years old. She had to have, all of this surgery. She apparently had severe injuries. I don't know how bad her injuries were. Let me see if she had to have hip replacement surgery.
Yeah, which I would say warrants a significant injury. I don't know how, if this goes in front of a grand jury, they need to return a true bill superseding indictment of aggravated assault, which is an upgrade over the elder abuse. You can be charged with aggravated elder abuse, but I think that is typically something you'd see out of a nursing home.
So in the paper today, they said that he was charged with a Class E felony.
Yeah, so the lowest.
So they could, and because of that, he had that $5,000 bail. He posted $500.
Yep.
So, but if they charged him with the Class B, it would be a whole different story. More bail and
Yep, Class B felony. They say advocates argue the charge should have been classified as a B felony due to the severity of the woman's injuries, a crime that carries a sentence of 8 to 30 years. And typically requires a higher bond. Prosecutors, this is what you were saying, Sam, prosecutors can still upgrade the charge once the extent of her injuries is fully documented. This guy was back out on the street before this woman even had surgery.
Well, and the irritating thing about Class C felonies in Tennessee, obviously there's going to be an opportunity to upgrade this, but as it stands right now, if he were to go to trial for the Class E elder abuse, he would be eligible at sentencing for what's called diversion, which is essentially a probation program that says you do good behavior, you do the probation, and we'll wipe this off your record anyway, even though it was a felony.
Soft on crime policies, man.
So whose fault is this? Who charged him? Who was behind that?
What seems to be a very liberal Davidson County district attorney.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously. What's his name again? Glenn Funk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that was under investigation for probing microphones around the courthouse?
The same.
Oh.
So you have
funky business.
You have these, I mean, it's just like Memphis. How many times have we talked about the district attorney in Memphis? I mean, not
Steve
enough
Mulroy.
time. Yeah, Mulroy. And so this is just that locally here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And I don't...
At the mother church of country music, no less. Like an iconic area. This woman is working at a historical place. She's a part of the community. Her age is a factor in all of this, and we still get nothing.
I'm still, and I get what you're saying. The law can be very complicated, but from an emotional standpoint, what angers me is that you have a woman, 70 years old, and this dude walks up and karate kicks her in the chest. Now, I'm sorry, but if you are doing that to a 70-year-old woman, you are trying to kill her. You are.
Yes.
And I had the same thing when we were talking about the knockout game in New York and D.C. I don't think we saw a lot of that here in Nashville, but a lot of that on the East Coast. And if you're kicking a 70-year-old woman in the chest with all your might, you're trying to kill that woman.
And here's the messed up part. If you were the prosecutor in the grand jury hearing over this case, you could make that argument, and the defense isn't going to be present to try and counteract that. But I guarantee you, they're not going to do that. They're not going to make that, because that is a extremely logical and well thought out process that ran through the Mandis mind of attempted murder.
Yeah, but the law is so quirky and so stupid, and we've got district attorneys. You know what I wonder? Because I don't know. And Glenn Funk, those people won't call me back. But is that a case where that would go directly to Glenn Funk's office, or is this something that like a lower person may have made this decision?
One of the ADAs, the assistant district attorneys.
Assistant district attorneys.
Yeah, they're probably the ones making that decision.
I don't. It is stunning beyond belief.
I think
that the people of Nashville approve of this kind of thing.
So what happens in the process is he was arrested. He was taken to the county jail, and so it's probably at Davidson County Jail that the magistrate set the charges based on what the officers told the magistrate, and they did not obviously have the full extent of this woman's injuries documented at that time, because that was happening simultaneously. She's being transported to the hospital. He's going to the jail. But it does look like somebody got some shots in. When you look at his mugshot, his chin's pretty cut up. So good on whoever did that.
Well, if this was the woman's walking home from the Ryman? The Ryman. And so there's a lot of people around. So if this dude walks up and karate kicks a woman, then there's a lot of people around there that perhaps took care of business. Maybe it was the cops. I don't know. And I don't know if, I didn't see anything in the story that I had. Was there any alcohol involved? Like, was this dude drunk? He's got to be high on something. right? Or am I wrong on
He was
that?
said to have been pretty drunk, and he left his phone at the scene.
Yeah, you dumbass.
So he was right around the corner, actually, when police were able to get him. I think somebody saw what was going on and said, hey, he went that way.
Yeah.
And he didn't get very far. And,
Right.
of course, they were able to take his phone, and they knew who he was right away.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Glenn Funk, I don't know how you sleep at night running the DA's office the way that you do with these soft on crime policies. Now, they will tell you, oh, well, look at the number of prosecutions and, we do a great job. Be that as it may, well, then please, somebody in the district attorney's office who won't call me back, please call me on my phone and explain to me and the people of Nashville and WTN, how is it that this guy was charged a lesser crime, a lesser charge than what he should have been charged with? My opinion, it should have been attempted murder. But just please tell us this is what I want to know. The rationale. Tell me the rationale. Is it that we don't have the prison space to accommodate yet another one of these guys in prison? So what we're going to do is just go easy on the charges, and so that they could just, get their hands slapped and off they go. What is it?
Yeah.
What is it? Because I just want to understand.
I can give you some insight after we check traffic.
Oh, all right. 7:48, time to check the roads on WTN. All right, very good. As far as your weather for today, it's going to be nice. High of 75, partly cloudy, feeling like 78. Similar weather throughout the weekend, by the way. Lows in the lower 50s.
Bonfire weather.
It is bonfire weather, actually.
It's official.
Do you know what I hate about bonfires? I love bonfires, but do you know the one thing that I hate about them?
The smoke blown in your face?
The smoke. No matter where I go, it follows me.
Do you not know the I hate rabbits chant?
No.
Apparently, the old lore is if you're sitting at a bonfire or campfire and the smoke's blowing in your eyes, if you start saying I hate rabbits, it'll bend around you.
I think somebody was goofing on you when they told you that.
It's not my. Listen, that's been running for quite a while. That's not something I learned.
I think that makes about as much sense as this Pablo Arias being charged with a lowercase felony kicking this woman.
So to play devil's advocate for that.
Yes.
In the heat of the moment, officers are going to detain this man. They're going to arrest him. They're going to transport him to the jail. The magistrate at the jail, this I think happened at night, is going to make the ultimate determination on how to book him. So he's booked on whatever the magistrate deems to be the appropriate charge based on what the officers are bringing in for the information. Now, the officers don't have anything on body cam to show the magistrate. They're just going off a witness reporting, hey, he kicked this woman. Well, if that's all the magistrate gets, then she's going to look at her book and the TCA codes and go, all right, well, that fits elder abuse. You say he kicked an older woman. The magistrate's not aware that she's going to have a hip replacement surgery when that's happening. So that's to play advocate on their side. But it is still a corrupt system, in fact, to the point where the other day they put out an article asking for the police need our help in locating a felon wanted on 19 warrants here in Nashville after a dangerous chase.
Okay.
So it's a broken system.
Clearly.
But in this aspect, we'll see how broken it is. That's the unfortunate nature of criminal law and sometimes civil law. You got to play the long game.
Right.
So we will see what happens at a grand jury indictment and what they return after all the facts are laid out by the prosecution, and we'll know whether or not the prosecution's doing their job.
You know what's interesting? 8974 says, I was on a Nashville grand jury last year. We had several cases where we upped the charges. I was pleasantly surprised that most folks felt the same way as I did. That's interesting, actually. I've never been on. Joni, ever been on a grand jury?
I have not. I've actually tried so hard to get on a grand jury. I used to actually do transcribing, and I did grand jury cases. And man, they were like so deep into detail. It's like reading a novel.
Right.
And so I tried to get on a grand jury, and I.
Hey, by the way, Mario says if you are around a bonfire, that the smoke follows the beautiful. That's what Mario says.
There you go. They follow you, Dan.
Well, I'm the only one going to be down there actually this weekend, so it will follow me. Anyway, yeah, I don't get it. And the last thing I want, because people will say, "Oh, Nashville's just as bad as Memphis." No, it's not. No. Just like the people that say that Nashville traffic is worse than Atlanta traffic, just stop it. You don't know what you're talking about. I love you all.
To be fair, Atlanta does have some 6-lane highway space.
Yeah,
things can clear up when the appropriate time is reached. It is rather aggravating to be on a 2-lane highway or interstate and have a bunch of idiots.
I-70. What is it? I-75 in Atlanta? No, is it I-75 in Atlanta versus 24 in?
I think so.
In Nashville, because Nashville has terrible traffic on I-24.
Yeah,
I mean that we certainly know. We had a big problem earlier this morning, right, Joan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Is that still?
No.
We've had like 2 or 3 this week on I-24.
It's I think it's the deadliest and most backed up interstate in the Middle Tennessee area, if I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, 24?
Oh, yeah.
No crap, Sherlock.
Right.
You know, you say a lot of smart things, Sam. That wasn't one of them. I love you. 7:53 on Super. You know what? I'm just a little pissy because I've got to be here for another hour from 9 to 10.
Going nuts.
So I'm going to be in for Chris Hand at 9 to 10, and Joan Jones is going to be filling in 10 to 12. Joan, what are you going to talk about?
You know, stuff that's happening.
Yes.
You think I'm going to tell you, Dan?
Well, it's called the professional radio tease, Joan.
Oh, I see.
That's what talk show hosts do.
I've been too busy doing news, so I still haven't mapped it out yet, but...
You're going to come hang out with me from 9:30 to 10, though, right?
I am. I'm going to do that, yeah.
All right. You know, we could do like off the rails and just like do open phones. You want? Oh,
I love that.
You want to do open phones between 9 and 10?
Yeah, let's do it.
Fine with me because I won't be in this chair.
We could do open. That might be kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, because Sam's actually going to be in here for me.
Oh, right.
We're shuffling.
Whatever.
We're doing the shuffle today.
Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Oh, okay. So it's day 10 of the shutdown, and there is some movement from Democrats, but it's really not toward opening up the federal government. We'll tell you what that's all about coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 7:54, Nashville's Morning News. United Structural Systems, USS. I've been telling you about these folks for years now. I was a client before I was an endorser. They can help you with what they helped me with. Waterproofing, concrete leveling, and foundation repair. This is a great company. They have indeed helped me several times with my home. That is why I proudly endorse United Structural Systems. But don't listen to me. I mean, listen to me, but don't listen to me. Listen to one of the 30,000 satisfied customers. Listen to this recent review. This was on Google. Guy says that USS, United Structural Systems, they were highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish. They treated his home as if they were working on their own, and he does give USS 5 stars all the way. They're not going to charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and you won't pay a dime until the work is done and you're a satisfied customer. We guarantee our best. Call USS. They've got a whole menu full of items that they can help you with. Go to their website, USSTN.com. USS 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. 7:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, you know what I just realized?
What's that?
This radio broadcast has been so rollicking.
Rollicking.
And so off the cuff, if you will. I have not even used the majority of my show prep.
Oh, good. Can I have it?
Nope.
I'll take your leftovers.
I am so excited that I just realized I've got 2 segments that I haven't even done yet.
Oh,
so
I love
I'm
it.
really, really happy that I'm going to be working from 9 to 10 this morning.
No. You're going to save them for me.
No, I'm really not going to do that, Joan. Every host for
Dan.
Every host for him or herself.
You're supposed to help your fellow struggling broadcaster.
I'll tell you how to turn the microphone on.
Oh,
if that's what you'd
my
like.
goodness.
Joan, you have never been one to not have anything to say.
Wow.
If there's one thing Sam and I agree on is that Joan Jones is never lacking for anything to say.
Oh, except a Philadelphia Eagles win.
E.
Oh, boy.
G.
Do you know my Phillies lost and they're out of the playoffs now?
Oh, did they lose?
Yeah. Losers.
When did they lose?
Last night to the Giants of all teams.
Oh, why did...
Terrible.
Sam, why did you tell me? I would have broke out the E. G.
That's not how to spell Phillies, buddy.
No, that's with an F. Right?
Help me. And leave me your notes.
Oh, wait, you were talking about baseball.
Yeah.
I was
Not
talking about football.
I am so... Somebody on the text line said that I bet you really wish you had a Dan Greer right about now. That is absolute truth, my friends. It has been a long week. I think you know what I'm going to do after the show?
Pour yourself something tall and strong.
I may. One of my favorite places in Mount Juliet serves breakfast, and with the breakfast, they actually do serve Dan Greer's. I may have one before I go home to the lovely Miss Amy, who is probably still unconscious from all the drugs I gave her. Anyway, it's 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, now 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It is day 10 of the shutdown, and ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is telling us that there may be some movement, but it's really not about getting the shutdown ended.
House Democrats say they're willing to pass a standalone bill to ensure pay for troops during the shutdown. If Congress doesn't reopen the government by October 15th, it'll be the first time in modern history that service members go without pay because of a shutdown.
Now, just this week, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries vehemently denied a standalone bill that would have extended Obamacare subsidies for 1 year. It's not clear why he would okay this bill. In the Middle East, a ceasefire is now in place, and that means the 72-hour window for Hamas to release hostages, living and dead, has begun. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is speaking to his nation as the ceasefire began today. He was speaking in Hebrew here, and he thanks President Trump and his envoys, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner.
למדינתנו. אני מודה לנציגי הנשיא טראמפ, סטיב ויטקוף וג'רלד קושנר, שפעלו רבות.
Netanyahu suggesting Israel would be prepared to return to military action if it does not come to agreement with Hamas on the next phases of that plan. Two courts in Maryland are dealing with Maryland man today. In Maryland, there is a judge that will hear from the government over its plan to deport Kilmar Abrego Garcia to Africa. And News 2's Nikhil Smith says a Tennessee judge will have a case before her as well.
This deals with evidence in the human smuggling case filed against Abrego Garcia in Middle Tennessee. His attorneys have asked to see communications between prosecutors and the Trump administration. Federal prosecutors have countered to say those communications either don't exist or are privileged.
Abrego Garcia's lawyers say that human smuggling case is actually vindictive and should be dismissed. Breaking news out of Bellevue this morning, where Fox 17 News is reporting that shots were fired at a police officer at an apartment complex early this morning. Happened at the Havana Lexington Apartments on Old Hickory Boulevard. There are a few other details about this shooting, so we're going to look for more details and bring you up to date with any news that we hear about that. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. And stocks should begin trading within the next half hour. The futures, though, are on the plus side. Dow futures up 73, NASDAQ futures gaining 13, S&P futures, they are plus 5. That's the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So a couple of spots on 40 in the eastbound lanes at the West Loop. This is at I-65. You've got a crash reported there. That's exit 208. Then in Hermitage on 40 westbound, right at the Davidson-Wilson County line, it's two crashes on the right shoulder. It's blocked off. And they're saying that there's no police on the scene yet. There's one crash before New Hope Road overpass and the other one just after it. So something to be aware of. 24, the delays there, clearing out now on the westbound side. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. I've got a blockbuster, and I mean a blockbuster segment that I'm going to do opening the Chris Hand Show coming up at 9.
Don't make it too big because I don't want you to shine so much. That
we're not going to have to worry about that, Joan.
Okay.
One thing we know about me is I am not going to outshine anyone, but I've tasked Sam with cleaning up this audio. Don't say what it is, Sam. If you could have that done by 8:30, I'd actually rather do it in my show so that I get the ratings credit. That'd be great. So I'm going to do, you know what I'm going to do, Joan, when I'm in for Chris from 9 to 10? I'm just going to phone it in so that, I'm going to use all the good stuff during my show from, 5 to 9, including what I hope to do at 8:35 with Sam and Joan, because that is an incredible story.
Just a reminder that Blockbuster is a failed business.
Wah, wah.
Anyway, so try and clean that up. Because, it is an amazing story. Like, it is shocking, actually. So hopefully Sam can clean up the audio between now and 8:35. Have you seen, Joan, the highlights of the Virginia? We've been talking about the Virginia governor's race, right?
Yes.
Have you seen the highlights of that debate last night?
I didn't see the highlights yet.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Need some audio and video here. So this is one of the most infuriating things you will ever see or hear today, where we've been talking about the story where you have John Jay, the guy who is running for Attorney General for the Commonwealth of Virginia. He's got those really nasty text messages that he sent a while ago talking about how he would like to see his political opponents and his political opponents' kids shot. Huge controversy. We've been talking about this week, these text messages. Again, Jay Jones. The Democrats won't even, as you know, we've been talking about this, won't even condemn this guy. There's a governor's race going on there in Virginia. The AG candidate, again, Jay Jones, texted someone else that he fantasizes about shooting then House Speaker Todd Gilbert and his children. Now, these were private text messages, and this is from the Associated Press. In the texts, Jones describes a scenario in which Gilbert gets 2 bullets in the head, followed by a wish that the Republicans' lawmakers' children die in their mother's arms. And do you know why he said that? Because he's saying that this Gilbert's kids are fascists. Like, they're just a couple of little fascists.
He said breeding little fascists.
That's exactly right. Breeding little fascists. New York Post, of course, has also reported that he at one time said that if more cops died, that would stop, if more cops died, that would stop them from shooting people. And that was a discussion about police and qualified immunity. So this guy wants to be the attorney general, and here he is basically sounding like he wished that cops would die, that if more cops died, they would stop shooting people. I hate to say it, but these days, typical Democrat. I could see Athol Bain saying something like this, for example. So this impacts the governor's race because the woman running for governor, her name is Abigail Spanberger. Again, she's a Democrat. She is refusing to pull her endorsement of Jay Jones, the guy that said all of these horrific things in text. So that's the setup to this debate that happened last night. I want you to listen to how infuriating this is as she is being asked by the moderator about her endorsement of this guy, Jay Jones. Listen to how infuriating this is.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years.
What did you do about it?
I learned of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
She denounces murder.
And importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them.
You're running to
presumably for political reasons.
So Winsome Sears, and this was part of the debate, Winsome Sears is doing a lot of interrupting, and people are saying that she may have interrupted too much, but the reason why Winsome Sears is so angry is because Spanberger, simply put, will not take back her endorsement of Jay Jones, which is so weird. Like, why would you not pull your endorsement for a guy who wished that children would be shot dead? I mean, do you know what's so funny, Joan? There was a time in America where that would be like Politics
Career
101.
ending. Yep, career ending. It would be political suicide to accept that.
But Spanberger, she just simply, and the reason why Winsome Sears is so angry, and the reason why when you listen to this audio, she clearly just won't answer the question.
But the voters now have the information, and
she keeps going back to the voters.
It is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Ms. Bamberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee.
Ms. Earl Sayers,
and it's up to every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend to do.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger.
Listen to how contrite.
Yeah.
Is that the right word? Contrite? She sounds very like, I'm not going to answer your question. I don't care how many different times you ask it. And she's sounding and she's looking like she is just clueless as to how people are perceiving this. And for the life of me, I do wonder if Jay Jones has something on her. Because it doesn't make any sense why a gubernatorial candidate, knowing the severity of these text messages that Jay Jones sent, that she wouldn't immediately pull that endorsement. I truly don't understand. You know, we talk to Matthew Hurd all the time. He's been keeping us up to speed on this. And I don't know if he can explain it. Maybe I'll try to get him on. But it doesn't make any sense. It seems like it would be politics 101.
We just want to clarify, you know, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision. I am running for governor. I am accountable for the words that I say, for the acts that I take, for the policies that I have put out.
Thank you.
I'm responsible for the policies I put out and the work I will endeavor to do tirelessly for the people of Virginia.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger.
You see how that went?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was 2 minutes and where she just, I absolutely pull my endorsement. That's what she should have said. This is the state of the Democrat Party, though. Like, doesn't this, you know, as the young kids say, doesn't this track
Yeah.
with the Democrats?
So the Virginia Police Benevolent Association is saying that if he does win, he needs to decline to serve. He needs to say, thanks, but I'm not going to do it.
Somebody filed a motion to have his law license suspended.
Yeah. That's true.
Jason
And he should.
Miyares, who holds that position now, has been just a stud. He's been so good in his job.
Yeah.
First of all, I can't imagine that this guy is going to track at all. But we'll see. Things get crazy in the areas of Virginia nearest to Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they may rally around this. And I think that if Jay Jones and this woman, Spanberger, wins after that performance, and I've got a little bit more audio, I think that it does track with the Democrat Party. They refuse. Number one, we know that they embrace assassination culture. We saw that with the murder of Charlie Kirk, and we've just seen that in their overall behavior, where it's also like a murder culture. Because if you think about it, and I don't want to go too deep into this, but if you think about it, what do the Democrats advocate for? I mean, obviously, we could go down the conversation of abortion, but soft on crime policies, which leads to people being murdered because bad guys ultimately don't end up in jail. They embrace illegal aliens coming into our country. A lot of these people are murderers as well. And so they advocate for rape and murder and soft on crime policies. And ultimately, it's the American people that pay the price. And so for this Spanberger, who wants to be the governor, for her not to, I mean, she can condemn, I'm air quoting, she can condemn all she wants, these text messages. But by not pulling her actual support, it just doesn't, I am baffled by this. Why she wouldn't pull that support. I will even be more baffled if ultimately she ends up winning this election because Winsome Sears has been closing the gap. Spanberger was doing really well, and Winsome Sears has been closing that gap. And some say that this particular debate may have closed the gap and maybe put Winsome Sears over the top.
So
we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Just before that that debate last night, Signal, now I don't know, it's a Republican polling firm, had, so in September, Abigail Spanberger 50-43, Winsome Sears. And as of October 7th, Abigail Spanberger 49-45. So it is tightening.
It's closing.
Will it be enough?
Well, you know what? Winsome Sears had a lot more to say to Abigail Spanberger.
I don't understand why you just can't come forward and say he needs to go. I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you not going to address it?
Now, here's the thing. This is a video, and if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, Spanberger cannot even look at Winsome Sears. She can't even look at her. And she's really not looking at anybody because she can't look the moderator in the eye. She can't look at the camera, and she can't look at whatever audience members are there because she knows how incredibly wrong she is. And so if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, just pay attention to the fact that she refuses to look at Winsome Sears or, frankly, anyone else because she can't, because she knows that she's in the wrong.
I don't understand why you just can't come forward and say he needs to go. I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you not going to address it? Wow. Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right?
I mean, she had nothing to say.
Wow. That's powerful.
And the crazy thing is, she didn't even say no to any of that.
Wow.
More like Abigail Spamberger. Salty meat in a can.
Yeah.
That's really bad. Like, that was Mandis level bad. Just to let you know.
I learned from the best.
Listen, I'm second to none. Whatever. Also, remember, just talk about the Democrats and their death cult. Also, let's not forget that they're pro-Hamas, right? So they're pro-Hamas, pro-abortion, pro-crime in the streets, pro-illegal alien gangbangers who murder and rape. And not one Democrat will pull back or renounce this guy to the point where they take away their endorsement of him. And I believe when Winsome Sears, she is genuinely perplexed. Like, Winsome Sears is speaking for all Americans who are, you don't even have to be a Republican. You can be just a moderate Democrat and say, what in the world is wrong with you, Abigail Spanberger? Why is this so difficult? So I think that somebody's got something on her. Like, I do. And I don't, maybe this is my intuition or something, but I don't believe that this Spanberger, thanks a lot, Sam. I'm calling her Spanberger. I don't, this defies all logic. So there's somebody has something on Spanberger, and that is why she is refusing to pull that endorsement. And you know what? Here's the thing. Does anybody really care about this woman's endorsement? Does anybody really, truly care about, and just go with me here. Does anybody really care about Spanberger not endorsing this guy, Jay Jones? Because I think that he's probably cooked. But it tells you about the leadership qualities and the moral character of Abigail Spanberger. And you can't trust that. That's the kind of leader she is. She is acquiescing to somebody. I don't know who it is, but it's somebody. The question is, will it cost them the election? We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I'll tell you what, those police, you really think that they're going to respect a guy who is an attorney general who said that maybe more police need to be shot so that they'll stop shooting people? And it would be so on brand for the Democrats in Virginia to vote that kind of person into office. Anyway, 8:23. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, we've got details about that crash that closed a portion of I-24 in Murfreesboro this morning. And outrage over the soft charges brought against a man who brutally kicked an elderly woman. That's coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A24, Dan Mandis here. You know, the weather in Middle Tennessee can get brutal. It can get crazy, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Super Center. They are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. That's right, the nation's, not just Tennessee, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. They will hook you up, get a free quote, and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Super Center does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They're not going to leave you in the dark. And when the power is out in your home, it's going to go right back on, thanks to the Generator Super Center with that backup home standby generator. Call them, 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952, Generator Super Center of Nashville.com.
Good morning. It is now 8:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We know some more now about that crash that closed I-24 eastbound in Murfreesboro this morning. TDOT is telling us that crash happened in a zone where it was a work zone where paving crews were at work, and a passenger vehicle drove into the back of a construction vehicle. It's called an attenuator. It's one of those trucks with a big cushion on the back. It's designed to keep construction workers safe in a work zone. We don't know anything about the condition of the passenger who drove that car into the vehicle. Friends and family of a 70-year-old woman who was brutally kicked by a man in downtown Nashville are sounding alarm bells. The suspect was 35-year-old Pablo Arias of Whitehaven, Pennsylvania, and he was charged with a Class E felony elder abuse charge. That's a lighter penalty with a lower bond than more serious charges. His bond was set at $5,000, so he posted $500 to go free. Advocates say that should have been a Class B felony, which would have required a higher bond and a stiffer sentence if convicted. The woman's recovering from an emergency hip replacement. In a not-so-shocking announcement, the Nobel Committee has awarded its Peace Prize to a woman in Venezuela who's considered an opposition leader to dictator Nicolas Maduro.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado. She is receiving the Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela.
Now, it's an announcement. The Nobel Committee took numerous swipes at President Trump, saying, among other things, that democracy is in retreat worldwide, saying more authoritarian regimes are challenging norms and they are resorting to violence, all language that mimics leftists here in the U.S. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We are trading now, and it looks like the Dow Jones Industrials ticked higher 156 points. We've got the NASDAQ up 46 and the S&P gaining 13 in the early going here. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Metis here, 8:33, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Lake lovers, listen up. Tennessee National, Lakefront Resort, Golf and Marina Community, they're releasing a brand new phase of lake lots, one day only. It is coming up on Saturday, October 18th. Now, if you've always wanted to live by the lake, maybe you want to retire by the lake, maybe you want a second home, this is where you want to go, my friends at Tennessee National. Now, listen to these deals. Cottage packages with boat slips, they are starting at $379.9. Home sites with 40-mile views and covered boat slips, they're going from $99.9. That's where they start, $99.9. Move-in ready homes and custom builds as well. Lot sizes up to 7 acres. This is a huge opportunity from my friends at Tennessee National. And by the way, they've got terrific amenities as well. Pickleball, swimming pools, coffee shop, marina, hiking trails, and a whole lot more. Now, this is 20 minutes outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. This new phase lot release is happening on Saturday, October 18th. So if you've always wanted to live by the lake, this is your opportunity. Find them online, TennesseeNational.com. That's TennesseeNational.com. Or call and secure your private tour, 865-408-9992. 865-408-9992. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Memories begin here at Tennessee National. All right, so just a few minutes ago, we were talking about this, in my opinion, this train wreck of a debate for the Democrats. And we are going to talk to, in Virginia, a governor's debate. And so coming up, we're going to talk to Matthew Hurt to see if this debate helped the Republicans at all. And did it destroy the Democrats? We'll talk about that coming up here on WTN. I want to tell you about my friends at DT McCall's, a great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value. Now, I always like to say with DT McCall's, and with most of my clients, frankly, that I was a customer before I was an endorser. And that is very true for DT McCall's. I've been telling about them for a lot of years. They've been helping people out for 3 generations. And if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. If you need some indoor furniture, you got a room to fill, a home office, a den, a bedroom, whatever, they can help you at DT McCall's. And of course, appliances, if it plugs in, they've got it. They've always got specials going on to save you money. Just go to the front page of their website, dtmccalls.com. They've got all the best brands of appliances and furniture at great prices as well. Huge opportunity to get some really good furniture or appliances at DT McCall's at lower prices. They've been doing it for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. And if you buy it, they're going to deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. DT McCall's, 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com.
Okay, so we have an accident this morning on 40 eastbound before I-65 at the West Loop area. It's a crash in the right shoulder. The right shoulder is blocked off. Most of the other delays have eased now coming into Nashville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.